threats and all of this stuff. And I just have to tell you, man, that was a proud moment for me to know that those B-2 bombers from right here in Missouri flew round trip like 32 hours in the air.
And I wondered about that because obviously they have to refuel, but they're doing that mid-flight, right?
Yep.
I mean, so
twice they had to refuel.
This isn't what I should be focusing on, but that was one of my questions because I heard that too. It was like 36 hours round trip to Iran and back. What, 2 people who were in one of those B-2 bombers?
I think that's the crew.
I mean, it's not like you can just be like, you know what, we're really tired. We're going to go ahead and stop at the Best Western over here.
They could probably nap. They can probably set it on cruise and
nap.
I
would like to know how they do that.
Yeah.
Can't just land it and stay the night in a hotel. Park it out in the lot.
I do know some people who are pilots. I should reach out to one of them and see if we can get one of them on. I don't know how much they would be able to tell you that's not secure, like classified, but it would be interesting to know from people who've taken those long flights. Just generally speaking, what do you do?
How do you do that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're on a commercial flight and it's one of those 18-hour flights to Australia, I know they sometimes carry a couple of crews. You can't do that on a bomber.
It's too small. And also,
I know.
These are questions, again, I probably shouldn't be fixating on, but how do you go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
These are all things I would like to know.
That's true. I have no idea. I really don't. But we are going to tear this thing apart this morning and talk more about what happened over the weekend. Obviously, everybody was glued to the TV when the announcement came out. Then we watched the president's speech live when he cut into programming the other night. Just to, I was, everybody wanted to know. My first surprise was he made a statement, pretty much stuck to the script, and turned around and left. He didn't take any questions. He didn't do anything like that. I thought that was handled well. I thought the operational security of it was handled well. There were no leaks. And you know why there were no leaks? Because they didn't tell any Democrats. That's why there were no leaks.
So here's what's interesting, because I saw people criticizing Trump, including Congressman Wesley Bell, trying to say you didn't consult with Congress beforehand. And Caroline Leavitt tweeted out that just simply wasn't true. She said that there were people in Congress, Democrats included, who were tipped off about this. There wasn't some lengthy discussion, it doesn't sound like, but it wasn't like they completely were blinded by this whole bombing.
Well, Iran wasn't completely blinded by the whole bombing. That's the interesting thing about it. I mean, they didn't, it's not like they didn't know this was coming. There were all kinds of reports that there were trucks were seen coming and going from these nuclear sites, and they might have moved a lot of their enriched uranium ahead of time. Well, this is my thought for them. We have the technology at the National Geospatial Agency up here to do facial recognition on a man standing on a pier in Siberia. That's how detailed our space equipment is right now, right? That's how detailed we can spy on other countries. Don't you think, at least if the U.S. wasn't doing it, the Mossad was tracking exactly where those trucks went when they left the nuclear facility? They know exactly where that crap is, and they haven't bombed it already. They're about to. So I have no concerns about that whatsoever.
By the way, this is supposedly, my brother-in-law texted me, but then I Googled it. Supposedly the B-2 bomber pilots had a toilet, microwave, and a cooler for snacks on their 37-hour, this is the headline, bombing raid.
It's funny because I've seen those do a flyover before, and they look bigger when you see them in person than they do these pictures you see on the TV. It's pretty good size.
Well, they look really flat.
So I guess there is room for them to get up and move around.
And folding cots. I just wanted to update that because that's something I've been fixated on.
I did not know that either. That's fantastic. But so the bottom line here, Ethan, by the way, we're going to get into your guys' vacation here and how things went coming up. But the bottom line, Ethan, is that because I'm not on my normal microphone, I can't reach my computer. So whatever I handed you in terms of things for the short list,
I got your back.
Let's just make it up. Go ahead and hit it.
The Marc Cox short list. Was not and has not been about regime change. The president authorized a precision operation
to neutralize the threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing about it. The Democrats have been threatening this for years, but none of them had the cojones to do it. Donald Trump came along and said, I think we're done here.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Yes, they have. There was his announcement. He had J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio standing behind him as he made that announcement, and then they turned around, dropped the mic, and walked out of the camera.
The first people that should be angry about it are the Chinese government, because they take a lot of their oil comes through there. So they should be the first ones that are saying if they mine the Straits of Hormuz, the Chinese are going to pay a huge price, and every other country in the world is going to pay a huge price.
Yeah, that's the Secretary of State there, obviously Rubio, talking about the threat of Iran closing the Straits of Hormuz. The only people they hurt if they do that is themselves.
The mofo that resides in the White House has unilaterally, in my estimation, declared war.
Operation Let Them Speak continues alongside Operation Rising Lion. Just so you know, that was Jasmine Crockett, the brain surgeon herself, who had to go on and play to her base and refer to the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces as a mofo, and she's got to drop the hood language to somehow try to earn points with her base. And these hypocrites, Kim, and she wasn't in Congress at the time. She was still a corporate lawyer who didn't talk like she grew up in, north of MLK somewhere. She didn't. She was still in Congress then. She was not in Congress yet. But Barack Obama, I saw the statistic this morning, I think the last year of his term, but let's just say it's the last 2 years, dropped 26,000 bombs on Syria and Yemen and a whole bunch of terrorist spots around the world. And not once did he have to go to Congress and get authorization to do that. Not once. 26,000. We just dropped about 30. And the Democrats are going to impeach Donald Trump for doing this. Mm-hmm. Just so you know, people, if you're paying any attention here, ignore the noise because it's ridiculous. The argument just doesn't hold water.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all that this is the approach the Democrats are taking. I mean, AOC being so upset, saying, we need to impeach him over this. I mean, to some extent, and you kind of brought this point up earlier, Caroline Leavitt, again, is saying that the top Democrats, that they were, in fact, told about this plan before it was carried out. But to some degree, it seems like you would have to keep this under wraps or you would risk it getting out and the whole plan would fold. Well, because they had the some of the bombers, they had them going west as a decoy. Then they had the other ones going east, and then they met up with others. I mean, it was very thought out, well planned, and you have to keep that tight.
I'm not sure there would ever be an expectation of specifics, but what a sad testament it is to our current state of politics that the leading members of the opposition party are so focused on politics that they would shoot their own country in the foot by potentially leaking those details before the bombings were carried out. Think of the risk they would have put our soldiers at if they'd done that. And you know that people like Jasmine Crockett or AOC or Bernie Sanders would have run straight to the media just to try to inflict a little bit of political damage, and they don't care about the soldiers. They clearly don't. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad they did what they did. I'm glad they didn't. They knew there were very few of them they could trust with this, and they're calling it OPSEC, operational security, and it was tight. It was tight. There was no tweets this time or whatever they did last. And what's the app they used last time that everybody was Signal app that they were so worried about? None of that crap happened for sure. The fallout continues, no doubt about that. All right, ran a little long there. Glad to be back on a Monday morning. Clearly, a lot to talk about, and we're going to get to all that for you coming up Ethan, who's got our national anthem this morning?
It's Cards Cubs tonight. We're going Jeremy Boyer.
Let's do it.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. Well, it's warm out there. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone, but quiet. So things do look good on the roads, and that's on the Missouri and Illinois side at this hour. Off to a great start. We are looking good on eastbound 70, 64, 40, and 44 from out west into downtown. And we look great on the bridges if you are headed in from Illinois. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. This report brought to you by New Perspective Senior Living. New Perspective Weldon Spring is redefining senior living. They've got modern apartments, delicious meals, activities, entertainment, even a state-of-the-art AI fall detection system. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, so if you are a member of the police, the fire, the EMS, you're a first responder, this is great news for you. My friends at Home Shield Foundation Repairs, for the rest of this month, what's left of it, so get on the ball, will come out and provide their polyjacking services for you. That means you got a driveway that's not level, a sidewalk, maybe your basement foundation, wherever it is that you're having problems with concrete sinking, they can fix it, and they're going to give you a warranty when they're done. Through the end of June, they're going to give you 20% off polyjacking services for all first responders in the sound of my voice. So to be sure you take advantage of that, go to their website, HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. The person that comes out is my friend Matt Hayes. He's the owner of this small family-owned company, and they can fix it for you. If you also have waterproofing issues, water leaking into your basement, they can fix that. When they leave, they give you a lifetime warranty. I love that. Check them out online right now. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
How long?
Recognize the Hill?
I do. How long ago was that?
It's when she was running for president in 2015.
Wow.
The Hill was running for president in 2015 when she said that. The Hill also said something else when she said that. And I've separated these bites intentionally this morning, because if you go out and you Google Hillary Clinton and Iran, there's some factcheck.org has decided that this bite is deceptive because of the way it's edited. Okay. They ask her, if the reporter asked her, what would you do if Iran fired a nuclear weapon at Israel? And this is what Hillary Clinton said in response to that question.
I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran.
So somebody took that bite and they didn't include the reporter question, and they edited it onto this bite.
Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them.
Okay. So it would be deceptive to edit those two bites together. They were separated when she said them, because her initial point is, if I'm president, I'll attack them. That was in response to, what if they nuked Israel? But the other answer is very pertinent to what's going on now. If you listen to her, she says it doesn't matter what stage they're in, we would obliterate them. Obviously, if they already had a nuclear weapon and they had dropped it, we would know what stage they were in. But you got to listen to what the Hill said here, because she and all the other Democrats are highly critical right now of what happened this weekend. Listen.
Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
Yeah. Well, not only did it not deter them, but as Secretary of State under Barack Obama, we gave them about $1 billion worth of cash on a pallet that they not only used probably to enrich uranium, but to send to Hamas and the Houthis and to spread terror throughout the region. Hillary Clinton has blood on her hands when it comes to the damage Iran has been able to do the last 10, 15 years. She and Barack Obama own this problem. And who has shut it down? Who? Donald Trump. Donald Trump has shut it down. The Houthis are no more. Syria is no more. Those countries are not now lobbing bombs into Israel. They were silent through all of this. You didn't hear anything out of them, right? Because once you take away Iran's power to fund those other terrorist organizations, Israel is a safer place. Israel is a safer place this morning than it was before we did this on Saturday. And there's no other way to tear that apart. The deal that was in place under Barack Obama empowered Israel. The big lie you'll hear all this morning on every major network when they go to find one of these pro-Democrat analysts, well, you know, Donald Trump pulled us out of the JPOA where we actually had eyes on what was going on. Does anybody believe that for even a minute? Why are you, as Marco Rubio pointed out this weekend, why are you enriching uranium if you're not going to use it for a weapon. Because if you're just using it at the Callaway nuclear power plant down here, you don't need to enrich it. Enrich is another word for enhance. You only need to enhance the radioactivity of uranium if you're going to weaponize it. And that's the lie that's going to be told over and over. Well, we don't know if they had a bomb yet. Well, why do they have uranium enriched to 60%? Where you quickly jump to 90 if you need to load it onto a bomb. That's why they were building ICBMs. They didn't have a space program. They were trying to get intercontinental ballistic missiles done so they could deliver one of those babies to the United States. And now they're not going to be able to do that. End of story. We'll be back in just a minute.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
All right, it is cash for clunkers time at the Overhead Door Company, and this is what you need to know. If you've ever thought of considering replacing that garage door, maybe you want an upgrade, maybe you want a new look, maybe you need an insulated garage door, this is the time to do it. Take advantage of this. They're going to pay you for your old door. Not only will they dismantle it and take it away and put a brand new one in, they'll give you cash credit toward the new door. So take advantage of cash for clunkers right now at the Overhead Door Company. Now, maybe you don't need a new door. Maybe you need to fix the one you've got. Maybe your spring has broken, or you think it's time to get ahead of that and preemptively replace it. Call the Overhead Door Company. They're not going to leave you stuck. They can do same-day service. 314-781-5200 is the phone number for emergencies or otherwise. 314-781-5200. Overhead Door, stlouis.com.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Today, we'll get an idea whether there was any improvement in the housing market in May. Existing home sales numbers are released this morning. Also, there's an update on the service sector of the economy. There's an important inflation update on Friday, the PCE price index for May. Fed Governor Christopher Waller is encouraged by recent inflation readings and believes the Fed could start cutting interest rates as soon as July. Kenny Polcari, chief market strategist at Slate Stone Wealth, says we need to see more evidence that inflation is remaining tame.
We're still unsure what the tariffs are going to do. While I don't think they look really inflationary, there's still that unknown out there. So I think Jay Powell's playing it right when he's being cautious just at the moment.
More earnings this week from Carnival, Winnebago, FedEx, Nike, and others. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
Sponsored by AxeCap Ventures. America, listen up. Gold prices are breaking records. With inflation raging and central banks hoarding, every American should own gold. And like President Trump said, whoever holds the gold makes the rules. AxeCap Ventures owns one of Nevada's largest undeveloped gold deposits and trades for pennies on the dollar. This could be your way to ride the gold boom. AxeCap trades under GARLF on the OTC. Visit axecapventures.ca today.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. Well, it's hot, but we're off to a great start as far as traffic goes. Light volume through North County and really throughout the entire area. Now, on the Illinois side, there is some slow-moving traffic in both directions. Route 3 at Monsanto Avenue due to a slow-moving train. But other than that, we look great. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Liu. Yes, Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
You know, don't miss this opportunity if you love shooting. Well, even if you're not somebody who goes and shoots regularly, you always need to be prepared. Here's what my friends at the Range St. Louis West are doing right now, just for my listeners. Right, you can win 1,000 rounds of 9mm. They're going to give away 1,000 rounds to 5 different people on July 1st. They're going to pick a winner coming up on July 1st. So you need to go to this address I'm going to give you, and you need to register. It is therangestl.com/ammo. therangestl.com/ammo. That's it. That's the only way to get to the page, because it's for my listeners only. You have to be 21 or older. It's open to Missouri and Illinois residents if you have a valid FOID card, which we hate, but you have to have one of those in Illinois. But anyway, take advantage of that. The Range is doing this for one reason, to launch the countdown to 250 years of American freedom with some freedom seeds. 1,000 rounds of 9mm to 5 different people who listen to this radio show, and we appreciate them doing that. So pass it around to your friends. Let them know about the show, and tell them to go to therangestl.com/ammo for full sweepstakes rules and details.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
The helm is in good hands. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Kim on a whim.
If you have a loved one who's older, you may have used one of those. It's like a necklace that they can wear around their neck, and it's
my mom's got one.
Okay, does she?
Oh,
What do they call that? It help something alert. I forget the name of it.
Med alert. They've got a bunch of
alert.
different names for them.
But you push
Ours
a button,
is-
right, and it connects somebody to get you help immediately.
Ours
Is that
is
the idea?
specific to the place where she lives. Like, an alert goes off downstairs when she presses the button. Some of them you can get that have cellular capability if somebody lives on their own, and it automatically alerts 911.
Yeah, and I've seen those
Yes.
growing in popularity because plenty of people would choose to live on their own if I guess they could.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, if you're the son or the daughter trying to take care of your aging parent, that is scary. So that
Peace
is,
of mind.
it's
Yes.
peace of mind. And so it's funny because there's a similar concept, I guess, that they're trying out in the Dutchtown neighborhood. So in South St. Louis City, they're concerned about all the crime. If you're familiar with Dutchtown, I would personally, and maybe you guys have a different thought on this, but I would call that one of those areas where it's trendy. It's becoming trendier. There are younger people, younger families, even in some cases, who are moving there. But I would not call Dutchtown safe. I've covered plenty of crime there when I was reporting for Channel 4, and it just seems like one of those places where it's pretty regular.
Turning over.
It's turning over. And so if you're willing to be there for part of that, maybe you can actually kind of see the other side of this. But if you go there and live right now, you're probably going to hear gunshots semi-regularly.
15 years ago, that was probably Benton Park and Benton Park West. And slowly all of those became gentrified or fixed up. And then, the drug crowd was pushed further south, I guess, in that case, from Soulard, the other side of
Yeah, I guess
Soulard down
so.
there. But anyway, to your point.
Yeah.
So in Dutchtown now, they're offering these to residents.
So what? No, not residents. They're offering them to businesses. It's part of this pilot program because we've seen what happened here in St. Louis. We've talked about this a lot, where businesses don't want to invest in. Many businesses don't want to invest in downtown St. Louis because they're worried they're going to be broken into. And I cannot blame them. Why would you want to invest in that type of area? So basically, what they're doing is the Dutchtown Community Improvement District, the CID. You'll hear it be referred to often. They're offering businesses this security badge that's part of this partnership with this local tech startup called Quima, I believe is how you pronounce it. And they're the founder of that company is basically saying it's like a wearable panic button. So you would, I guess you could wear it as a necklace, or you'd clip it onto your belt loop, and basically if someone were coming in and causing a disturbance, you click the little button and it sends help immediately. My number one question was, well, who's the help? Who are you reaching out to? And there was no really clear answer other than to say that as part of the pilot program, they want to figure out who that would go to. Would it go to some of the options they say would be police, which I'll be honest, police are so tied up here in the city. They don't have the resources, I would imagine, to be answering to all these calls from Dutchtown businesses if they're scared of somebody who's acting erratic. Could go to the CID, or they're saying it could actually just send a notification out to other businesses, and it would be basically some group effort where they would all come together and it would just be
like
known.
a posse.
Like a posse.
You could like all
the
other
mafia, the Dutchtown mafia.
If the bat light goes off and you hear it, the alarm, everybody gets their own sidearm and they come running over to your business to help.
I mean, that's the thing. What do they go? Let's just say that that's the route they go, that they don't send the alert to police. What are they going to do?
Go to the bat phone.
I just have questions about this.
Well,
so it's 20 different neighborhood businesses are part of this pilot program. I think it's like 6 weeks long, but these badges have been used in places like hospitals and schools. And so they're hoping that in a commercial setting that this will be successful. And they're saying if it's successful in Dutchtown, that this could then be implemented elsewhere. In fact,
they've got to get buy-in from the police, number one. And just like with the one my mom had before she moved into a residential living situation, the alarm goes off at some monitoring company in God knows where, who then calls the 911 for the area you live in and alerts them that there's an emergency at that address. So you've still got the delay, and you've got to get a 911 operator to dispatch a police officer. So you're still talking about probably minimum a 10-minute delay of getting a response. And in the city, it could be longer than that because they're so understaffed.
And I mean, is the idea that you want to deter people that if they see this little security badge, they're like, wait a minute, I know if I commit this crime, like I'm about to, if I steal that shirt that I came in to steal, someone will run in and stop me. It's just not going to happen. I'm not saying that we shouldn't try some of these things. I just question if this is actually going to be effective.
I would guess that you don't want it to be conspicuous. You want it to be something that would be hooked onto your belt or something like a silent alarm that you could press without anybody noticing it.
Like banks have those. I remember my sister worked at a bank and they have an alarm where, if someone's coming in and robbing them, you don't want to cause a disturbance and let them know that you've called the cops, because then what if they shoot the place up? So you hit that little alert button and that at least sends the police and gets them on their way.
I'd love to know what the conversations have been with the police in that area, because they know there's a problem. Oftentimes they're dealing with more serious stuff somewhere else and they can't get down there in time. How do you solve that problem? This weekend, I was at a graduation party yesterday, and I'm talking to some friends who we were talking about going to the ball game, and they're like, yeah, we went to the ball game the other day. And I always park over there near Purina, right off Shoto. There's some lot where he always parks there, and he walks, down to what would that be, 8th Street or whatever, and walks up to the ballpark. Maybe it's not 8th, maybe it's 6th. I don't know. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Just past Purina at Shoto, where there used to be the little diner on the corner there, and they left their doors unlocked because they live in the city and they know if you don't want your car broken into, just don't lock your doors.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The thugs still broke their car windows out only to find nothing. Because the cars were unlocked, and they didn't even hang around to call the police because they knew they wouldn't show up.
I think a lot of times because I've heard that where people intentionally leave their car unlocked and then it still gets the windows busted. They're probably just moving so fast. They're not even wasting the 2 seconds it would take to pull on the handle. They just have that little tool where you do one little tap and boom, the entire window is shattered. And then you reach in and whatever. I mean, I always have heard they're looking for weapons and things like that.
Well, I only bring it up because it's a response issue. Even if you push the button for help, how much time it's going to take help to get there is key. So if they don't have an agreement with the police, then maybe they need the vigilante system I just talked about, where if I'm next door and you know that my business is having a problem with someone, I need help immediately. I've pressed this button. We're all in this together. Gather the posse and come on over.
But would you, like some of these business, and I want to play the soundbite for you here in a second, but some of these businesses maybe have 1 or 2 employees. These are mom and pop stores.
Yeah.
Where would you really, let's say like it's a woman in her, I don't know, I won't even say an age. Let's just say it's a woman, a solo employee working at one of these boutiques or something like that. And she gets an alert from her neighboring business that something is happening. Is she really going to feel comfortable, first of all, leaving her own business unattended, but second of all, inserting herself into that situation? I mean, what are you going to do unless you're armed? What can you do? Because even if these criminals are very brazen, they don't care if other people are looking at you. How many places have cameras, smack dab when you're walking in? They realize they're on camera. They don't care.
And it's like what Will said here on Facebook, a 9mm will stop the car thieves. But while that's true, they're often stealing your 9mm out of the car.
Yep.
They're often armed. And that would take a lot of intestinal fortitude to face down somebody like that, assuming you're the business owner next door who walks over to help your friend. So to your point, it sounds good on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Putting it into action is a different thing.
Well, and I'd be worried too about a lawsuit, especially with the city of St. Louis, of them trying to say, well, you weren't really in danger, and so that you couldn't shoot them and it wasn't self-defense. The director of the Dutchtown CID, which again is the Community Improvement District, they're the ones that are doing this pilot program. This is the first soundbite I want to play. You hear her talking, and then you hear the guy who founded the startup company that's providing the wearable badges or whatever. Listen to them talking about this.
We can do it ourselves as a part of an entire package, working with the police, working with our other neighborhood organizations.
I feel that this will be a blueprint that could be used in other neighborhoods and other cities, but more importantly, it puts a light on the frontline struggles, and that's really what our mission is.
And I guess that's true. It does put a spotlight on that, but
they're getting news coverage of it.
Yeah.
Which is going to ultimately put a little bit of pressure on the politicians down there and the police, but whether or not it results in any action. Now, on a related note, Governor Kehoe today is announcing, as you pointed out in the news, that he's going to finally appoint the board that will control the St. Louis police. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. This afternoon.
Yes. He picked 5 members, and then of course you have Mayor Kara Spencer, who is automatically on the board. So I'm very curious to see the names he has selected. Maybe we'll know some of them, because it sounds like it's not just going to be Joe Schmo. They'll likely be known people here in the community.
Yeah, I hope so. But my guess is it's all political. It's all going to be political.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's all going to be political. They just need to have a little bit of common sense. Hope the governor keeps a close eye on what they're doing once he names them. Yeah, interesting story. I had no idea. Clearly, it's sort of out of a sense of desperation. Hey, by the way, did you watch or listen to a Cardinals game this weekend? I know you didn't. You were traveling. No. You guys are probably traveling. Chip Carey, according to the media in this country that hates, just waits for the opportunity to pounce on somebody who talks into a radio microphone for a living. They want Chip Carey fired because of something he said this weekend. If you didn't hear it, you're about to when we get back from the break. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. We are off to a good start on the roads here. Quiet through North County. We look good on 55 from down south all the way into downtown. Looking good, 70, 64, 40, and 44. Quiet on the Illinois side. Yep, off to a good start this morning. If something comes up, I'll let you know. This report brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today and schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Yep. Michael's Flooring Outlet has done such good work for us. I was looking at the floor again over the weekend, and particularly the area where you walk into our house in the foyer. That's key because that's the first thing people see when they walk in. And we've got tile right in front of the front door, which is fantastic. Handles water well. You can easily clean it up if there's a mess. If that's something you've considered, they have a great selection of tile up at Michael's Flooring Outlet. It's beautiful colors, different ways you can install it that makes it unique to your home. And I would hope you'll go up there and check them out. They'll bring you samples, but it's always great to see that you can lay it down on your floor and you can see what it looks like in the different light. And if it's something you want to do, they have great ideas to inspire you when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Just go to igotfloor.com. Be sure and ask them about that. They're great Mohawk products. They're Revwood Select, which is the waterproof and pet-proof warranty. I think that's great. It's all right in their stores. Like I said, they'll come to you if you're too busy to get to one of the stores. They're in Darden Prairie in West St. Louis County or Old Town St. Peters. If so, go to their website. Right in the upper right corner, you can click on a button, and you can schedule somebody to come to your house with flooring samples. They can measure. It's fantastic. You're going to love working with Mike and the folks at Michael's Flooring Outlet. igotfloor.com.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
The Cards, the Cubs. Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer. The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
The Freedom 13 remembers the heroes that made the ultimate sacrifice by supporting the veterans still with us. You can make a difference with just $13 a month. It's June for Jared in honor of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. Learn more at 971talk.com/talkinaction.
He's right. Marc Cox. The Marc Cox Morning Show, on the air and streaming at 971talk.com.
Give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth. Give me
I
life,
am so
give
done with the cancel culture in this current media environment we live in. Can I just tell you that? There are people out there who every day have one purpose, and that is to wait for someone who talks on the radio, in some cases the TV, asks Kevin Steincross, and wait for you to make one slip of the tongue, and they want to destroy your career. They've done it to a number of people. In some cases, people who tweeted something out that they didn't like, that they blew out of proportion, out of context, and got them fired from their jobs. There are other people who said something by accident on the air and got fired from their jobs, like Kevin Steincross. There was a situation, an open mic situation years ago with a guy named Tom Brenneman, who actually, believe it or not, is back on the air now. He's the son of former Reds broadcaster Marty Brenneman. He's back on the air doing a morning show in Cincinnati. I understand, but he was the Reds play-by-play announcer and got caught on a hot mic making a homophobic slur about the city of San Francisco. It was during a commercial break or whatever, and I guess he thought his mic was off. And now that's a situation where you could say, okay, you must really feel like that if you're saying that with a you didn't know the mic was on, blah blah blah. So they removed Tom Brenneman. Destroyed his career over that. This weekend, Chip Carey had a slip of the tongue. And when you go on and search for it, you'll find out that there were a lot of people out there who want Chip Carey to be suspended or something else. I don't know if they want him fired for this slip of the tongue. Now, he's reading a promo for an upcoming night at the ballpark where they are honoring people with disabilities. It's not the regular Pride Month with the rainbow flag kind of. It's Disability Pride Night at the ballpark, and they're giving away, I think, hats is what the promo was. And Chip Carey misspoke, and I'm going to play this for you, and then you're going to hear silence afterwards. There was about 30 seconds of silence, I think, when maybe somebody in the control booth heard him slip and they were talking to them or something. And then a whole pitching sequence takes place before you finally hear the announcers again. So they knew immediately what had happened, but it was just so obviously an accident. And that the fact that you would try to damage the career of Chip Caray over this just pisses me off. I'll let you listen to this for yourselves. I'm not bleeping anything. I've already warned the boss I was going to play it. Here you go.
Disability Pride Night is Thursday, July 10th, and with a theme ticket, fans take home a Cardinals cap featuring the Disability Pride flag and Cardinals in Braille. Details at cardinals.com/theme.
This is the awkward silence that ensued for about 30 seconds after he said that. That is something that would be so easy to do.
Yeah, that's a slip of a tongue.
Absolutely a slip of the tongue. And of course, the stories all went out all over the internet. Chip Caray had a homophobic slur and blah, blah, blah. And finally, the story was released from the Cardinals that Caray will not be suspended or punished. You go, St. Louis Cardinals. Good for you for not bending to this nonsense. They talked in the story about what happened when he stumbled over his narration for this. FanDuel, at first they said FanDuel Sports Network Midwest declined to comment when this agency first reached out to them on Sunday afternoon. But sources said the network is not planning to discipline Caray. That's big of them. The grandson of announcer Harry Caray. Instead, they're chalking it up to an honest mistake during a live read by an announcer who meant no insult to any viewers. But they did release a statement that they did apologize to anybody who might have been offended. No, I'm not apologizing for anybody who might have been offended. It was a mistake. It was clearly an accident. We talk on this show for 4 hours every morning. We have a dump button over there that can erase like the last 7 seconds of what you've said. If you were to slip up and make a mistake like that, that's when Ethan's skill set kicks in. He has to reach to his left and hit that dump button for me if I screw up and say something like that, unless I've pissed Ethan off and he's just decided he wants to work with somebody else. Clearly, Chip Caray, they either don't have a dump button or I don't know. I don't know what happened, but that's the broadcast as you heard it that went out over the air.
That has made me nervous. It's like being in live media, especially now, and you're saying we're live for 4 hours.
Yep.
It is so easy, especially if something you thought about how it's the word is close or you have mispronounced it in the past. I'm not saying this was the case with him, but yeah, it would be very easy to do.
Maybe, just maybe, this is an indication that the culture cancel warriors are losing, right? Because remember when that happened to Kevin Steincross, despite their apologies and their explanation that it was just a slip of the tongue, and if you know Kevin, you would know that was absolutely the case. It was just an accident because they had discussed it off air earlier that morning that some other broadcaster somewhere had made that mistake. So he slips up and he mispronounces Martin Luther King Day as something else. And the local Urban League or whoever it was, NAACP, insisted that he be fired. And Channel 2 finally bent to the pressure and fired the guy. And it's just a shame.
Mm-hmm.
It really is that you would erase somebody's career. I'm glad to see maybe we're making some progress toward common sense on that front. You're offended by it, go pound sand. Sorry. All right, we're going to be back with Hans von Spakovsky in just a minute. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Tony La Russa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Hey St. Louis, this is Ben Barnett, board certified master arborist with Timberline Professional Tree Care. In my nearly 30 years in the industry, I've seen firsthand what damage falling trees can do to your property. The sad thing is that most trees that fail have defects that can be identified by a well-trained certified arborist. At Timberline, we have 7 ISA certified arborists, 3 of which have gone through extensive training and testing to become tree risk assessment qualified. Our track certified arborists can perform a thorough assessment of your tree and provide mitigation options for your peace of mind. If there's nothing wrong with your tree, we will let you know that it poses a low risk of failure. If it needs to be removed, we'll tell you in a detailed written report. It's all about honesty and integrity here at Timberline Professional Tree Care. So call us today to get a tree risk assessment scheduled, 636-479-7475, or contact us through our website at stltreecare.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Monumental damage, obliteration. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President Trump posted late last night about the U.S. military strikes on 3 Iran nuclear facilities over the weekend, adding the biggest damage took place far below ground, bullseye. And this morning, one of those sites is under attack again.
With the Israeli fighter jets active above Iran, they are hitting the Fordo facility again. There are indications that the Israelis are striking at the entrance roads to and from Fordo to prevent the Iranians from regaining access. In addition to that, they're hitting the headquarters for the Revolutionary Guard. They struck at a prison for political prisoners.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv. Iran told the UN Security Council the U.S. decided to destroy diplomacy. Another missile it fired into Israel got through the Iron Dome defense, doing damage. No one was hurt. And we're just getting word that the U.S. Embassy in Qatar has sent a message to American citizens recommending they shelter in place there until further notice. Drama near Detroit. A man showed up at a crowded church wearing a vest, carrying 2 guns, started shooting outside. But as he walked to the church, someone drove a truck into him, and then 2 church staff members shot and killed him.
We are grateful for the heroic actions of the church's staff members, who undoubtedly saved many lives and prevented a large-scale mass shooting.
Wayne, Michigan Police Chief Ryan Strong says it appears the dead gunman was having a mental health crisis. It's going to be another really hot day across much of America. More record highs can be set. Advisories or heat warnings from Wisconsin to Texas, the Carolinas, and the New England. They partied late into the night in Oklahoma City. We're on top of the world right now! Celebrating an NBA championship. OKC! The Thunder won it, beating the Indiana Pacers 103-91 in Game 7.
For the first time in 25 years, the same player won the regular season MVP, the scoring title, and now he's your finals MVP. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Commissioner Adam Silver on ABC. It's the Thunder's first title since 1979 when they were the Seattle Supersonics. America's listening to Fox News.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. It's going to be hot, and it's already hot. If you're leaving the house right now, kind of feels sticky. It's that air you can wear. About 75 degrees now, 6:03 is our time. Several protesters marched in downtown St. Louis Sunday over President Trump's decision to bomb Iran's nuclear sites. This comes as Congressman Wesley Bell criticized the president's move, claiming Trump didn't consult with Congress beforehand. Trump's press secretary Caroline Leavitt says that is not true. Groups part of Sunday's protest say there's another one planned here in St. Louis on Thursday. A police pursuit to catch a carjacker ended with multiple crashes and several people injured, including St. Louis police officers. The driver took off when police tried to pull him over Sunday afternoon in South St. Louis City. The police SUV chasing him crashed with another car, injuring the two officers and also a woman and 3 children in the other vehicle. The stolen car crashed then with another vehicle that was in the Central West End. The driver was thankfully eventually arrested. A St. Charles man has died after drowning in a Mississippi River over the weekend. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says the man was on the back of a boat and for some unknown reason went into the water around 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. This happening near Two Branch Island. The 64-year-old man was not wearing a life jacket. 6:04 is our time, 74 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, the Cardinals fell short of sweeping the Reds after losing yesterday's game 4-1. The Cards are hosting the Cubs tonight. 6:45 first pitch. That, by the way, kicks off a 4-game series. The Thunder, if you didn't hear, won their first NBA championship, beating the Pacers in Game 7 of the NBA Finals yesterday. 103-91 was the final score. Coming up on 6:05, you're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. Well, we did have a report of some debris. They say it was a bumper in the road, 364 near Jungerman. And unfortunately, I don't know which direction, but if you happen to be driving through there, just be careful. Also, MoDOT was reporting, it sounds like a stall, northbound 270, a little bit past 44. That one would be on the right-hand shoulder. But at this hour, we have light traffic and things are moving well. And that's on both the Missouri and Illinois sides. So we're off to a good start. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Cash for Clunkers is back. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We are in the longest days of summer, and we have lots of summer heat and humidity continuing on this Monday. Lots of sunshine. It's hot. It's humid. Temperatures will warm up very, very quickly. 98 for the high. The heat index around 105. Tonight, mostly clear, warm, and humid. 78. Tuesday, sunny, hot, and humid. Maybe a pop afternoon thunderstorm. And 95. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
81 degrees now. 6:06 is our time. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides.
The bottom line is,
I respect that we don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice. Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
Good morning to you. Welcome into the Marc Cox Morning Show on this Monday morning. What is it? The 23rd day of June. Wow, things are flying by this month. Hey, don't forget to take advantage of that chance to win 1,000 rounds of 9 mil out at the range. I'm just saying the month's going to slip by here. You have about 7 days left to get your name in the pot. No purchases necessary. You can win 1,000 rounds of ammo. TheRangeSTL.com/ammo in order to find that, and good luck to you. I have to point that out. All right. Also, be sure you nominate your first responders so we can pick a winner who we will deliver lunch to their crew, whatever shift they're working on a day of our choosing here near the end of the month. But all you have to do is nominate them. Just go to 971talk.com/contests, and you can find the form right there to fill out. Hope you can get that done. Glad to have Kim St. Ange and Ethan back in studio with us this morning after they had a relaxing week of vacation, correct?
Yeah, very relaxing.
Yeah, it was very relaxing. Got to go to New Hampshire.
Yeah, I mean, it was beautiful.
Was the weather good?
For the most part, we had a couple rainy days, but it was, like chilly at times, but it was 70s, maybe 80s a couple days. But then I came back here as soon as we landed late Saturday night, which, by the way, I get off the plane and I'm like, oh, we've bombed Iran. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, and now President Trump's about to speak. I mean, it was like all of this happened while we were flying home. And it's just, you just feel the heat and the humidity as soon as you walk out of the airport. So
what you're saying is reality slapped you in the face as you got off the airplane.
Yeah, you might say that.
Yeah. And Ethan, you had pretty good weather. You camped down near Bourbon somewhere?
Well, we started off down in Beaver Lake down in Arkansas.
Oh.
And then I was down there for a week. And then on Friday we came home and my brothers were like, hey, we're going to go on a float trip. So I was home for an hour, packed a bag, and then I left again.
Yeah,
wow. You're a trooper.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, as Kim mentioned, there was the incident with Iran this weekend. And I've got people on here this morning on the Facebook page accusing me of Michael, accusing me of supporting regime change in Israel. I have a question for you, and raise your hand if you have an answer to this. Who wouldn't support regime change in Iran? Who wouldn't? Raise your hand if you wouldn't support regime change. Whether it's the United States that carries it out or not is the question. But there's no doubt that the people that run that country are medically insane. They are. The Ayatollah Khomeini, who's changed faces only, is the same kind of an idiot we were dealing with back in the 1980s, right? These people hate America. They hate Israel. They would obliterate Israel and America if they had the ability to attach a nuclear warhead to the top of an ICBM. So if we could change that regime, it not only benefits the men and women who are sane, who still live in Iran, just like Gaza. If you can get rid of Hamas, those people can finally live in peace. So, yeah, I would support regime change in Iran. Absolutely. And what we did Saturday night was long overdue. You don't have somebody spineless in there like Barack Obama or, heaven forbid, Joe Biden. Thank goodness Kamala Harris was not in there. She never would have had the guts to do anything like this. It took Donald Trump to do it, to say, we've told you all along. I can show you the quotes from all of those presidents I just mentioned there. We will not allow, back to the Bushes, we will not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. We will not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. But two of those presidents gave them cash and helped continue their effort to build a nuclear weapon. And only this president had the guts to go in and say, we're not doing that. We have the technology to end it. We're just going to end it. And then we don't have to have this conversation anymore. We've degraded their ability to deliver explosives anywhere in the region, and hopefully Israel will continue to do that. So this all gets back to the fact that when you have a bully, sometimes talking to them is not enough. And a good punch in the nose puts them back in their place. And I think that's what's happened here. Now, I know we have to be alert because these people are fanatics. If you have a concealed carry weapon, or even if you don't, since we're an open carry state in Missouri, strap up just in case. But in the meantime, yes, I do support what happened on Saturday night. And I don't understand all of the conservatives. Hopefully somebody does a well check on Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson this week.
You know,
MTG.
I support what happened. I think that was necessary. I think when you look at the uranium and the enrichment percentage where it was at 60% and it was underground and there's all these sketchy things going on with Iran, and it only takes them getting to 90%, which I guess is not very difficult to make it like a full-on nuclear bomb.
Right. They were close.
They were close. And so there is concern. And it's not like it's just because people are saying, well, we're fighting Israel's fight. Well, I mean, yes, they have been bombing Iran and they've been going back and forth, but they're also, for how many years now has Iran been chanting death to America? So they're after us too. And who's to say they wouldn't have used a nuclear bomb against us? I am a little worried about the retaliation. And I say that specifically because it's not just the concern of what could come over from Iran, because they don't have near the capability that the United States has. However, you have to think about all the people who have been pouring across our border and are now here thanks to former President Joe Biden. And it's Iranian, it's people from the Middle East, it's people from China, because we know China's probably going to, want to make sure that they're buddy with Iran. And that's the concern I have right now.
Yeah, I agree. The biggest challenge for a lot of these lefties is that they've had the Ukrainian flag and the Mexican flag flying in front of the house. Now they have to figure out where to get an Iranian flag, because that's what these morons will be doing next. Yeah. In fact, some of them marched in downtown St. Louis this weekend, and they couldn't find any Iranian flags yet because it's going to take shipping is going to take a couple of days. But pretty soon they'll be flying an Iranian flag and marching through the streets of downtown St. Louis.
I'm
the
sure.
Same assorted bunch of fruits and nuts that were out there a couple of weeks ago for No King's Day, and the ones that are supporting Palestine and all of that. It's the same group.
There's a national day of action on Thursday. So they're already planning another protest in St. Louis on Thursday. And I saw this isn't surprising, but the LA County Sheriff's Office had posted condolences to Iran.
I've got it right here.
Then they retracted the tweet because I assume there was so much pushback.
First of all, our condolences to the people in Iran.
First and foremost, let's address this.
But please know that we're also on alert if there's any problems here at home. Like, they had to finally delete the tweet, but what kind of a moron runs their PR wing for the LA County Sheriff's Department? Man, what a mess. All right, coming up, we're going to get to Hans von Spakovsky, legal expert from the Heritage Foundation. Big week for the Supreme Court. It's got to happen this week. A lot of these decisions we've been waiting on. We're going to get to Hans on that. Judge stepping in, trying to they're trying to reduce the bail and let this guy we brought back from El Salvador back on the streets. It's unbelievable what's going on in our judiciary right now and the power that these leftists wield when they get a black robe on. It's unbelievable. We'll get to Hans on that. Right now, let's get to our top stories.
The Marc Cox Short List.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Yes, congratulations, Mr. President. You're absolutely right. They may still have a nuclear program, but it's not on those particular sites.
This mission has not been about regime change. The president authorized a precision operation to neutralize the threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program.
Yeah, it's true. That was Representative Randy Fine there, commenting on exactly the fact that this is not regime change. But if that happens, that would be a really good thing.
These guys flew from Missouri. They didn't land a single time. They dropped 30,000-pound bombs on a target the size of a washing machine.
Isn't that amazing? J.D. Vance there praising the Missouri pilots who flew this mission this weekend. Dropped a 30,000-pound bomb on a target the size of a washing machine.
You're arguing that after 46 years of the Iranian regime killing Americans, threatening Americans, saying over and over and over again, death to America, that maybe they were just didn't mean it, that they're fiery but mostly peaceful Iranian butchers? I mean, I don't understand.
Thank you, Scott Jennings, for reading the left at CNN, the riot act this weekend. How could you possibly keep defending Iran through all of this? Seriously. For God's sake, go back and remember what country you were born in, please, or at least that you're a citizen of, which would go for most of the people on that CNN panel, I would think. All right, we will get to a quick break here. Hans von Spakovsky on the other side of the break. Back in a minute.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, they got the bumper out of the traffic lanes, 364 near Jungerman. Watch for that on the shoulder. So we should be in good shape at this hour. And we are. Northbound 55 looks great. No delays through North County or on the bridges downtown. Really quiet on the roads at this hour. Don't forget, though, we still have that closure in place on 5570 eastbound between 255 and 159. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Let's talk about your roof for just a minute. I have a brand new roof, and my friend Curtis Carell described the kind of shingle I got as sort of being bulletproof, which makes me very happy because here's what you need to understand. Insurance premiums are changing right now when it comes to deductibles. When your policy renews, at least in the state of Missouri, probably in Illinois as well, you're going to be switched to a percentage of the value of your home as opposed to a hard number like a $1,000 deductible or $2,500 deductible. Those are going to go away. Next, it's going to be 1% or 2% of the value of your home. So replacing your roof next year at this time will be a lot more expensive than it's going to be right now. That's why you need somebody you can trust, like my friend Curtis at Carell Roofing, to come out and take a look at your roof. He's local. He grew up here. He's running crews with over 20 years of experience. They can help you with quality materials like the kind of roof I just put on. They can do specialty roofs like architectural shingles, metal roofs, other luxury shingles, even slate. And you can trust Curtis to be honest with you as to whether you're going to qualify for an insurance claim or not. You need to know when people are up on your roof if they're using the materials they promised you. With Curtis, I can tell you that I know that they are. You can trust this guy. Here's his phone number, 314-222-9529. 314-222-9529. Tell him Marc Cox sent you, or go onto Facebook and look for Carell Roofing Co.
Hey, it's Annie with my friend Stewie, and you know Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan gets you your mortgage or your refinance at no closing costs. And I have Stewie with me right now. You're all about saving people money. Fiscal responsibility is really in right now, and you've got something up your sleeve for these folks.
You know what, Annie? Some people like to get better cash flow. Other people just want to pay off all their debt. So we're going to do something very, very unique. In Scotland, it was traditional to paint the door red once you paid off your mortgage. So we're going to give you the Red Bagel Challenge. If you refinance with us and you consolidate your debt and you get your mortgage paid off in half the period of time remaining, we're going to give you a $1,000 bonus at the end of that term.
Well, Stewie's all about helping you build your wealth and build equity, and the Bagel Loan is another way to do it. Remember, no closing costs with the Bagel Loan. Reach out to Stewie directly with 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google Bagel Loan for more information, NMLS number 226715.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh.
Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
He's got the ammo. Marc Cox. Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com.
Been traveling these wide roads for so long.
Hans von Spakovsky, the former emperor of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Great to have Hans back with us this morning. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing just fine, thanks.
So please tell me that I didn't have a stroke over the weekend when I read that a judge has denied the government's request to hold Kilmar Abrego Garcia in custody while he's being charged with and prosecuted for human trafficking in this country.
No, unfortunately, you did read that, although I have to point out that the so-called judge who did this, Barbara Holmes, she's not a real federal judge. She's a magistrate judge. In other words, she was not nominated and confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Magistrate judges, they're like assistant judges. What happens is in a particular federal district is the judges by majority vote pick a judge who will help them with matters. And one of the things they can do is hold custody hearings. I read her decision too. And, she said that there wasn't any evidence that he would be a danger to the community. I'm like going, did you read the criminal indictment of this guy? And not only was he smuggling aliens, but he was smuggling guns, illegal guns and narcotics. He was abusing women to the point where his fellow MS-13 gang members said, well, you can't do that because it's bad for business. It was frankly a nutty decision, and I have no doubt the government ought to appeal. Now, the thing is that you should know is he's not going to be let out on the streets, because if she releases him, then the government will simply grab him and detain him on the immigration charges against him because he's in the country illegally.
But meanwhile, on another note, this Khalil guy who just wanted to get back to his infant, apparently, that he has in New York, instead went up and was part of a parade through the streets of New York celebrating the fact that some liberal judge released him after leading these protests, these pro-Hamas protests on the campus at Columbia, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. It just, look, this is an illustration of just how bad so many federal judges are around the country. And we've seen that with the nationwide injunctions being issued willy-nilly by all these leftist judges. And this is the result of having Barack Obama and Joe Biden president for 12 years so that they were able to nominate and get appointed to the federal bench all these left-wing ideologues into the judiciary. And then listen, that's going to be a real problem going forward for many years.
You know, we've got Hans von Spakovsky with us from Heritage. I said it last week, and it didn't happen. So the Supreme Court has got about a week left here, right? Aren't they done next week at the end of this week?
Yeah, that's right. And they did have they released half a dozen decisions on Friday, but it was like they were clearing out the attic.
Yeah.
Before they come out with their really big decisions. It was all these. They're important decisions, but nothing people have care about that much, including, by the way, a decision about faxes. There were young people asking me, fax? What the heck is a fax?
What's a fax machine?
What I told them? I said fax. Oh, that's an acronym. It stands for Free Access to X.
Nice.
Well, what are the biggest decisions then in like the last number of days? I know we have like a minute left. What are the biggest decisions you're watching from the Supreme Court?
The decision on birthright citizenship, that's going to be a big deal because it deals with nationwide injunctions. And a decision out of Maryland involving a school board that was basically doing DEI and gender propaganda to kids and saying to parents, "Oh, you can't opt your kids out of this." Those are two of the biggest decisions before the court.
We will be watching closely. Hans, thank you, my friend. Have a great week.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Hans von Spakovsky with Heritage, heritage.org. DailySignal.com is another great website, sort of a clearinghouse for some of the great stories that and issues they're covering at Heritage. All right, coming up, we got Nicole Murray, check a business, find out what's going on with gas prices after what happened in the Middle East over the weekend. Back in a minute.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve Auld of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Tune in to the All Financial Hour with Steve Auld, Saturday mornings at 6, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, Chesterfield Fence is ready to come out. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, I should say, ready to come out and take care of the next big project in your backyard. And guess what? You mentioned my name. They're going to give you 48 months interest-free financing for those who qualify to get that taken care of. You take your time paying it off. You enjoy it now. How do you beat that? I mean, they've really got some inspiring ideas out there of how they can improve that backyard of yours with maybe a 4-season room, maybe just a fenced-in area on the back of your house where you can enjoy nature without the bugs bothering you. Maybe you want a new fire pit. New fence, new deck. They've got you covered no matter what it is. They also do free project designs. You can't beat that. All you have to do is go to their website or visit their showroom and tell them Marc Cox sent you to get your 48 months interest-free. It is chesterfieldfence.com.
Cash for Clunkers is back. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards a new insulated door. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Cash in your old entry door, too. It's Cash for Clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Convenient, free, in-home estimates. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
Good morning. I'm Kim St-Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 81 degrees now, 6:30. Governor Mike Kehoe will be announcing his picks for the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners later on this afternoon. Kehoe was in charge of picking 5 people, and then St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer will serve as the 6th person on that board. The state takeover bill, which was signed into law back in March, also requires the city to spend 25% of its budget on the police department by 2028. A man died overnight in South St. Louis after being electrocuted at a YMCA. This happened just before 3 o'clock this morning at the YMCA in the 900 block of Holly Hills. Police say the man reached into the electrical service box in an attempt to take some of its components, and that's when he was electrocuted. In sports, the Cardinals fell short of sweeping the Reds after losing yesterday's game 4-1. The Cards are now hosting the Cubs tonight, 6:45 the first pitch. That, by the way, kicks off a 4-game series here at home. The Thunder won their first NBA championship, beating the Pacers in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Final score 103-91. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. On the roads, we're still in good shape here this morning. Now, I am seeing a little bit of volume on northbound 55 around Bayless as you head into the construction zone. But northbound 270 is in good shape, and we still look great. Eastbound 70, 6440 out west into downtown. Quiet on the Illinois side as well, and on the bridges if you're taking them in. This report brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
In the 70s, baseball player Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, and Electrical.
And electrical.
JerryKelly.com.
Hey, no matter what your plans are for retirement, you need to have someone you can depend on helping you kind of navigate all that, right? Because you've got taxes you have to pay on your retirement stuff. You worry about the market going up and down. You've got that nest egg, hopefully, that you've set aside over the years through a 401k or an IRA. Talk to my friends at the Retirement Advisory Group because they've been doing this for 39 years now. Thomas Helbig leads them over there along with Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw. It's a family-run business. I think that's important. They have one office, not multiple offices all over the country, and they've been working in St. Louis for coming up on 40 years now. So you probably have neighbors or friends who've already been to the Retirement Advisory Group. They know how to protect and give you structured income in retirement so you don't have to worry about the ups and downs of the stock market. Call them at 314-993-9494. That is 993-9494 for your free review that they'll sit down and talk to you. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Go online to retirementkey.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Exactly what you need on a Monday. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Follow the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Marc Cox Show.
We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson.
Come on, everybody to the back. Please, everybody come to the back. Come to the back. Don, they gotta come. They gotta come. Come on.
Come on.
All right, I don't know if you saw this video this weekend. That is people at a Christian church in Michigan fleeing as a guy rammed a truck into the front of the church and then started to open fire. And guess what? Good guy with a gun won that one because there happened to be an armed security guard that shot and killed the suspect. But even before that could happen, one of the deacons of the church happened to be in their car. They saw what was happening. They ran over the guy. And then when he tried to get back up, the other guy, the security guard, was able to shoot and kill him. He's a 31-year-old man who clearly intended ill will on that Cross Point Church in Wayne, Michigan. So thank goodness before a disaster could happen, a good guy with a gun brought that one to an end. We had not talked about that yet this morning, but thank goodness. Prayers answered there for sure. All right, let's get to business, please. Nicole Murray, I know you're bouncing and ready to go on this Monday morning. How are you?
I'm awake. I have pants on. That's a big win for Monday morning.
The standard is pretty low if just having pants on is a win. But I get that some days are just like that.
Some days are. They really are.
Some days better than others. Gordon Deal took the morning off this morning. You should have joined him.
I should have.
I'm telling you.
I should have. Well, I have a big trip coming up later this year, so I have to be very smart with my PTO usage.
Nice. Where are you going? Can you share?
The Philippines, actually.
Wow.
Yes, a friend of mine is getting married, so I'll be going for like 10 days. We're going to do island hopping as her like bachelorette beforehand, and I have to get a champagne colored dress, whatever color that is. And
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it should
and
be
expensive
a
little bit.
Yes, you're not wrong. The flights alone were $2,000.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yes.
So are
but
you bringing a gift over? How does that work when you're traveling that far for a wedding? I've never done a destination wedding like that where you're spending a bunch of money on the actual flight. I mean, I know it's a vacation for you too, but I guess you obviously would still get a gift for the bride and groom.
Oh, I was going to say my presence is the gift
Thank
because
you.
the flight is $2,000.
Well, that's
and
what
then
I
you also
wondered.
have-
What's the
but-
standard? What's the standard protocol for something like that?
I guess usually if it were like under $1,000, I'd throw them $100.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
but this, like, we're not even in, when we talk about $2,000, we're not even talking about hotels and food and drink and all of that. Like, they're going to have to be happy with my presence.
That's asking a lot. I think you're right about that.
Wow.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's going
it
on in
is
the
a lot.
markets?
All right. So right now, futures are slightly lower. Friday, the Dow Industrials lost 35, NASDAQ down 98, the S&P 500 down 13. Right now, oil prices are up by more than 1% after the U.S. strike on Iran's nuclear infrastructure over the weekend. West Texas Intermediate is sitting at $74.70 per barrel. Brent is currently sitting at $77.90 per barrel. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has called on China to prevent Iran from blocking the Strait of Hormuz in retaliation for U.S. airstrikes. About 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. China is Iran's biggest oil customer and maintains friendly relations with the Islamic Republic. Tesla has deployed a small group of self-driving taxis picking up paying passengers in Austin, Texas, with CEO Elon Musk announcing the robo-taxi launch and social media influencers posting videos of their first rides. The event marked the first time Tesla cars without human drivers have carried paying riders, a business that Musk sees as crucial to the electric car maker's financial future. The median home sale price in the U.S. just touched a record high. Redfin Dana says the median sale price hit a record of $396,500 for the 4 weeks ending June 15th. That's a 1% increase from a year earlier. How to Train Your Dragon snagged the #1 slot at the North American box offices with another $37 million in ticket sales. In second, 28 years later, which opened with $30 million, Pixar's Elio took third with a modest $21 million. And finally, more than 50 million Americans are gearing up for a heat wave this week, with temperatures reaching as high as 100 degrees. Experts warn do not sleep naked because without any fabric, sweat clings to your body. Sleeping naked can also disrupt your sleep cycle.
I would guess. I had never thought of that problem. You know, in Missouri, we just call that summer when it's 100 degrees here all the time.
I mean, we're part of that too.
Yeah,
I know they said it's like 30 states across the country. In Missouri, I mean, it's already 81 degrees. So it's 80s right now at like 6 something in the morning, and it's mid or upper 90s, I guess, later on this afternoon.
but we
I thought
won't
it was
sleep naked. Thank you for the warning.
I thought it was supposed to hit hundreds like all week long. You're
Well, at
saying
least
it's
the,
only
the feels like temperature is
Oh,
definitely going to
easily.
be over 100.
Misery. The misery index in Missouri is on this week for sure. Hey, so I have a question. Earlier, I heard you talking with Mike about 28 years later. What is that movie about? You said you've been waiting on it to come out. You've been waiting 28 years or what?
Okay, this is like the question of my entire career. Okay, here we go. So there's it's something called the rage virus. So it's kind of like a zombie type-esque thing. It was
Okay.
28 days later. That's the first movie installment, 28 days after the infection spread. Then they did 28 weeks later. And now all this time later, there was a whole drama over the production company that did the series. They finally were able to pull together 28 years later.
That sounds actually kind of cool. I'm normally not into any sort of zombie thing, but if like the infection thing, that might be kind of interesting.
When did the original come out?
Oh gosh, like I know the 28 weeks later was like early 2000s.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's been years. It's not like it's been like, just a year or two. No, we've been waiting quite some time for this.
We've been waiting about 28 years almost, it sounds like.
Yes,
Close to
exactly.
Could
it.
be 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, close to it. All right,
my-
just wondered about that.
It's intense though. I do warn you, it's not for the weak.
It's not like The Walking Dead kind of thing.
I wouldn't consider The Walking Dead for weak people either.
Well, no, I mean, I wouldn't either. I'd say it would be sort of the same thing.
I see.
Lots of people
To
being
be
shot
honest,
and stabbed.
I would think that the 28 years later is going to be more intense than The Walking Dead.
Wow.
Just because like their zombies are like they sprint full speed ahead, and there's just gore, and it's intense. It's more intense than The Walking Dead at times, I would say.
Got it. All right. I just wondered. I heard you talking about it earlier. Nicole, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep. We'll see you Wednesday.
It's probably a love story, Mark.
It could be. What if you were trying to protect your loved one for the past 28 years? That's what the movie's about.
Well, I guess I'll have to watch it. Did she say what it's out on? Is it in the movie?
No,
theater?
it's
out in
in the
theaters.
theaters. It's coming into theaters here at some point.
It's got Cillian Murphy and Ray Fiennes in it.
Oh, it's got Cillian Murphy. My daughter will want to go to that.
Is he cute?
He
or
was the
something?
original one though. He was
in
20
Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, he was in 28 Days Later.
Did you ever see Peaky Blinders?
Mm-mm.
You're gonna
Heard
have
of
to-
it.
It's really good.
You saw part of it?
No. I've heard of it. That's
Oh
about
yeah,
it though.
it's
Is
brutal.
it gory?
It's good, but parts of it are brutal.
It's
I mean, it's
brutal.
it's about an Irish gang. So
That doesn't
Yeah.
sound like my cup of tea.
It's a love story.
I'm
It
sure
is.
it is a love story.
there's several
There is
love
some
stories.
Is there a
in
love
it.
scene before or after someone's viciously
There
decapitated?
are several love stories going on in that show. Wouldn't you agree? And
Yeah.
Besides the fact that
the person loves to kill people and
they have razor
loves
blades
to,
in the
Their
top
hats,
of their
yeah.
cap, and that's why they're called Peaky Blinders, because they take their hats off and they slash people with them sometimes.
Oh, it sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to make sure I put that on my top priority list
It
of
is a-
movies to
it is a
watch.
good
really is
series,
really good.
But it's how Cillian Murphy became
Yeah.
famous, right? Was that show, Peaky Blinders.
Do you have to say it in that accent?
Peaky
Kinda.
Blinders. That's kind of how his
You
brother
kinda got
talks.
to.
That's that makes you want to talk like that.
It's like when you say China, you can't just say China. You have to say it like that.
China apparently is really concerned about Iran shutting down the Straits of Hormuz because they get so much of their oil from that area and from Iran apparently. So they're just like shooting themselves in the foot if they shut that down. They're not hurting the U.S. In case you're not paying attention to what's going on this morning. All right, coming up, we'll get to another news. Next hour, Harley, I should say, Lippman is going to join us. He's a foreign affairs analyst to figure out what might happen next. They figure Iran is going to hit back somehow. What might that look like? Will it be attacks here in the U.S.? I mean, I hope not. Some people are saying that the chance of sleeper cells in the U.S. has never been higher. So have your head on a swivel for sure. We'll get to Harley about 7:08. We'll be back in just a minute.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com.
Jackson.
See if I can.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We look pretty good on the roads at this hour, but there's a little bit of volume on northbound 270, especially between Big Bend and Doherty Ferry, and northbound 55 a little bit slow at Bayless. But other than that, we're good. We look good on 70, 64, 40, and 44 from out west into downtown. Quiet on the Illinois side and on the bridges if you happen to be headed in that way. This report is brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, don't put up with a wet or leaky basement. You don't have to. Let my friend Matt Hayes come over. He's with Home Shield Foundation Repairs, and he can take care of that for you. That's that simple. And you have his promise. And I know Matt that because he's the owner of this small company himself, he's a foundation specialist. He's not there to beat you up. He's there to fix the problem, hand you your lifetime warranty on the work, and go on to his next job. Some of these big companies, maybe not so much. Maybe they're going to try to get a few more dollars out of you than they need to, or do work that's not necessary. You can trust Matt not to do that. He can fix cracks. He can fix leaning and bowing walls. He can do sump pumps and sump pump replacements, whatever you need to get the job done, but not more than you need is one way of looking at it. Now, right now, they also are doing a special for first responders, fire, police, EMS, 20% off all of their polyjacking services. That's where they can come in and level up a porch or steps or a driveway and make it level again without having to replace all the concrete. It's a much more cost-efficient way of doing it. And if you're a first responder, through the end of this month, Home Shield Foundation Repairs will give you 20% off your polyjacking services. So get a hold of them today. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
The Cards, the Cubs.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25 plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
The Diamond Shop, 20% off all watches, even Movado, 40% off all men's in-stock jewelry, plus 40% off all pearl jewelry and in-stock wedding bands. Continues until June 28th. 10% VIP, extra 10% off purchase. Not valid for watches through the month of June. Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com. Is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The Annie Fry Show.
Joey Jones's new book. It's called Behind the Badge.
And I isn't doing anything wrong by deporting people that are here illegally, regardless of whatever their criminal record is.
The Annie Fry Show, weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.1 FM Talk. AM Drive Bliss. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
There's a parrot up for adoption at a Massachusetts shelter, and it's gone viral, not because of its really pretty, colorful feathers, but because of its really colorful language. The parrot has a potty mouth. It regularly curses and drops F-bombs, and they're having a hard time trying to get this bird adopted because people come in, and especially if they have children, you can't be having the parrot go to a family with young children where it's cursing up a storm.
What? Did somebody just turn it in at the shelter
yes,
because they didn't want to listen to it anymore?
Well, I have a feeling that the person was probably the one who was cursing all the time. The former owner had the parrot for about 20 years. The parrot is 30 years old, and it's really sad because they're saying he was fed human cereal, white bread, things like that, and so he's actually missing a lot of his feathers because they're saying he's malnourished. But if you'd like a cursing parrot, just go to the Massachusetts shelter, the Forever Paws Animal Shelter, and he can be yours to take home.
That's probably why pirates liked parrots a lot, because they curse like a sailor.
Well, this one certainly
that's
does.
why they didn't learn it
That's
from them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They sit on their shoulder, right? Yeah.
All right, so this is horrifying. Where's Sue Thomas when we need her here? Africanized honeybees are now spreading, Sue. They're in 13 states. And here's the most horrifying part about this. They will chase you for up to a mile to try to sting you. And they can sting you through regular beekeeping gear. Like it's not enough.
So what do you wear? I mean,
well, I guess you don't. You just stay away from them, right? Maybe we need to go out and kill them. I don't know. But in the last 3 months, a man mowing his property died after a bee attack. 3 people were taken to the hospital after tree trimmers disturbed a colony. Hikers had to run a mile to get away from an agitated hive. And a woman and 3 horses were swarmed after the bees were disturbed by a lawnmower. One of the horses later died from thousands of stings.
How do you outrun a bee?
I don't know. And I'm just as good as dead because I couldn't run a mile if I had to.
I'm just take
I'll
me
just
now.
lay down and
Yeah.
say, take me now, Lord.
All right, Lord, it's time. I'm terrified of bees. Now we have killer bees. We're going to stay on the animal beat because I don't know what it is about people in Florida that just do dumb things. I don't know how else to describe
Florida
it. But
man.
some Florida woman has gone viral for petting a wild alligator. There's actual video of this woman. She's out by like some pond. It looks like maybe an apartment complex or something like that. And it's a smaller gator, but who cares? Is up on the grassy area. And she just bends right over and pets the alligator. And it almost looks like at one point she's kind of taunting it. I mean, how dumb do you have to be?
Get what
Aren't
you deserve.
all alligators wild? Like there are no such thing as pet alligators.
That's a good point.
No, there are pet alligators. There's a woman in Florida, in fact, who had an alligator and she would dress it up as Santa and it would ride on the back of the motor. It had like a motorcycle attachment thing to her bike. And it was very controversial. I know it's dumb, but it was very controversial that she had
They're
this
reptiles.
pet alligator.
They don't have a brain that can like be friends with you.
Isn't that how they got in the sewers in New York?
Thank you.
I'm surprised people haven't tried to say they're emotional support animals and gotten them on airplanes.
No kidding.
No.
All right. Remember Jaws? Remember the 50th
Yes, I
anniversary
do.
of this? So there's a story out today on things about that movie that you might not know. Did you see it, Kim?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It was 81 minutes into the movie before you actually ever saw a shark.
That's really surprising to me.
And the reason is because they had so many problems with the mechanical shark that at some point the suggestion was made, well, maybe we need just more the suggestion that there's a shark without actually seeing the shark. But the real reason they didn't show the shark is because they were having problems with the mechanical shark, which made it more difficult. But they ended up making a better movie because of the anticipation, right?
Well, you put the music underneath the water and you have
Yeah.
people freaking out and you're scared.
Steven Spielberg was only 27 years old when he did that movie.
Oh, my gosh.
The total number of minutes the great white shark appeared in the movie?
Like 3?
4.
Wow.
Only 4 minutes out of the entire movie. And he got 4 Academy Award nominations.
Can you go back?
The shark did?
The movie did. The shark might have deserved
The
that.
shark was robbed
There
if
you
it didn't
go.
win any Academy Awards
Right.
for his performance.
Can you go back and watch movies like that, or is it just ruined for you?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, that's a great one.
Watch it.
That's a
I would watch
classic.
it again. I think
Yeah.
that the sequels weren't as good, but I love the original.
The sequels
Yeah, I
usually
thought
aren't
it was
as good.
great.
I remember the ride that they had at Orlando or whatever, and it was really cool, but they shut that down. And I heard it was because they were having all sorts of issues with the mechanical shark.
How
Go
ironic.
figure.
Yeah.
Maybe switch animals.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but apparently the sharks are not doing it for him. Did you guys hear about these robo taxis that Elon Musk is launching in Austin, Texas today?
And I think if what Drew and I heard is correct, they're uber cheap, if you'll excuse the pun.
That says the rides are being offered. Nice, Mark. It says the rides are being offered for a flat fee of $4.20. That's what Musk said on X.
It's like crack. They're just getting you hooked on that. And then it's going to double or triple.
This is a trial period in a limited area. It's like I said in Austin. And then I guess if they're really successful, they would start branching out.
Even if it triples, it's still cheaper than like Uber.
$15 potentially.
It definitely won't.
But you know
stay
what
at
they'll
420.
do? They'll do the dynamic pricing just like everybody else. So if you need it after a concert, it'll be triple the cost.
That's what I was wondering. Is
Right.
it a flat fee for a certain distance, or is it
It
flat
just
free
says
no
a
matter what?
Flat fee, but I cannot. I mean, how would you make any? You wouldn't even pay for gas.
Well, why would you?
Well, I
release,
guess you
Or
would need
electricity.
gas for this,
Why would
but
you release
electricity.
these in liberal bastions like Austin? Because in L.A.,
Because people will use them.
They ordered
They'll
them and
use
then
them.
burned them. They ordered the cars to come to them and then they attacked them and burned them during the riots. It's just dumb because there's no driver and they don't know to turn around and flee. All right, that's crazy. Coming up, we'll get to Harley Lippman, foreign affairs analyst, on the threat from Iran.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
There's an evil new twist in the tragic story of baby powder and its link to ovarian cancer. Recently uncovered documents reveal that talc can contain asbestos.
The same asbestos that we know causes mesothelioma.
Right, and ovarian cancer.
In the 1970s, the industry wrote its own rules, allowing Johnson & Johnson to claim that its talc was asbestos-free, as long as it contained less than 1% asbestos.
Of course, Johnson & Johnson helped write those rules. So while we're using hazmat suits to remove the asbestos from our homes, Johnson & Johnson was telling women it's safe for their bodies.
Unbelievable. So if you've used talcum powder for feminine hygiene and contracted ovarian cancer, call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
They've already won several large verdicts against Johnson & Johnson for women just like you.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH. That's 1-800-RX-WATCH or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-414-4420 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as one day. Just dial 1-800-414-4420 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-414-4420 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Iran threatens more retaliation. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Iran reaffirms its inherent right to self-defense and will strongly defend its great nation.
That's Reza Najafi, Iran's envoy to the UN's atomic watchdog, after their ambassador to the UN said the U.S. crossed a very big red line, bombing 3 nuclear facilities over the weekend, vowing a proportionate response. Congressman Rick Crawford chairs the House Intelligence Committee and worries about terrorism, telling the Fox News Rundown podcast.
Things like cyber. Iranians have a history of cyber attacks, and they're pretty good at it. So that's a concern. We know that there are cells in various countries around around the world.
The U.S. Embassy in Qatar has told Americans in that country to shelter in place till further notice as Israel keeps up the attacks today.
The Israelis say they've fired some 100 missiles over the past 2 hours. Among the targets hit, they have followed up the U.S. strikes at the Fordo nuclear facility, hitting an access road at the Fordo nuclear facility, preventing the Iranians from going back there. They hit command centers for the Revolutionary Guard.
That's Fox's Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv. Another Iranian missile hit Israel today, doing damage, but nobody was hurt. President Trump mentioned a possible regime change for Iran on Truth Social, also posting U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites caused monumental damage, and he'll meet with his national security team later today. It's going to be really hot outside again in much of the U.S. today and tomorrow. Heat advisories and or warnings from Wisconsin to Texas to much of the East Coast. Heat emergencies declared in some cities.
We have a heat warning for New York City down towards D.C. up into Boston, where temperatures are going to surpass 100 degrees with the heat indices.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. Thunder struck in the NBA.
OKC!
They're celebrating Oklahoma City's championship. The Thunder won the NBA title, beating the Indiana Pacers in Game 7. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander named the Finals MVP.
We have a team full of competitors. We did what it took this year to be champions, and we deserve this. We rose to the moment, and here we are.
America's listening to Fox News.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Good Monday morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Already hot as we expected, 81 degrees now at 7:03. Several protesters marched in downtown St. Louis Sunday over President Trump's decision to bomb Iran's nuclear sites. This comes as Congressman Wesley Bell criticized the president's move, claiming Trump didn't consult with Congress beforehand. Well, Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, says that is not true. Groups part of Sunday's protest, by the way, say there's another one planned here in St. Louis on Thursday. A police pursuit to catch a carjacker ended with multiple crashes and several people injured, including St. Louis police officers. The driver took off when police initially tried pulling him over Sunday afternoon in South City. Police SUV chasing him crashed with another car, injuring the two officers and a woman and 3 children in the other car. Well, that stolen car continued on, crashing with another vehicle in the Central West End. That driver was eventually arrested. A St. Charles man has died after drowning in the Mississippi River over the weekend. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says the man was on the back of a boat and went into the water around 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. This happened near Two Branch Island. It's not clear exactly why he went into the water. The 64-year-old man was not wearing a life jacket. 7:04, 81 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. All right, in sports, the Cardinals fell short of sweeping the Reds after losing yesterday's game 4-1. Cards now host the Cubs tonight, 6:45 first pitch. This kicks off a 4-game series here at home. And the Thunder won their first NBA championship, beating the Pacers in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, 103-91. 81 degrees coming up on 7:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got an accident eastbound 44 past Laclede Station Road, and only the right lane is getting by. I just posted it on X at Susan6768. You can see what I'm talking about, and we have heavy traffic back through Elm. Now, that's the worst of it this morning. We've got the usual volume. It's just moderate in the summer here, northbound 270, Big Bend on up through 64. But other than that, it's pretty quiet, and it looks great on the Illinois side as well. No problems on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by the United States Air Force Band of Mid-America. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Celebrate Independence Day with a free concert by the U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America. July 2nd, 7 p.m. at Logan University in Chesterfield. Showcasing patriotic music and more. Get free tickets at afbandtix.org. That's afbandtix.org.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We are in the longest days of summer, and we have lots of summer heat and humidity continuing on this Monday. Lots of sunshine. It's hot. It's humid. Temperatures will warm up very, very quickly. 98 for the high. The heat index around 105. Tonight, mostly clear, warm, and humid. 78. Tuesday, sunny, hot, and humid. Maybe a pop afternoon thunderstorm. And 95. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We're at 7:06 right now, 81 degrees if you're just leaving the house. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime, anywhere. Just download the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
I respect that. We don't agree. Listen to both sides.
This,
let's get it on,
is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
This mission was not and has not been about regime change. The president authorized a precision operation to neutralize the threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program and the collective self-defense of our troops and our ally Israel.
Yeah, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, after commenting on what happened this weekend with Iran, and he says that it is not now and never has been about regime change. And then, of course, the president did a post on Truth Social this weekend that basically suggested while the words regime change are dirty words these days, wouldn't it be great not to have the Ayatollahs in charge of Iran? And that's really, I think, gets down to the basis of the question. So welcome back into the show. Marc Cox here alongside Kim St. Onge and Ethan Bright. We got Sue Thomas checking on your traffic for you. We've been talking about this story. It was, Kim landed back from her vacation Saturday night to news that we had just bombed Iran, and the fallout has happened ever since. Now, they didn't even know we were there. I mean, that to me is pretty amazing in the overall scope of this. General Kane talked a little bit about it this weekend, that we were able to fly this mission, and the people we were flying it against were not even aware that these bombers were over there. I mean, think about that.
And this is 2 a.m. Iran time, correct?
Well, true, but we'd kind of been warning them. You'd have thought, but clearly their radar, their defenses had no ability to deal with the fact that this was coming or to even know what time it was coming.
This operation underscores the unmatched capabilities and global reach of the United States military. As the president clearly said last night, no other military in the world could have done this.
Yeah, that was General Raisin Kane, as President Trump likes to call him, talking about all of that. Right now, we've got Harley Lippman with us. He is a foreign affairs specialist, originally appointed by President George W. Bush many years ago, and has been actively involved in following these issues. And Mr. Lippman, thanks for joining us this morning. What's the matter?
That's his assistant.
Oh, that was his assistant. Sorry.
Yeah, there's some scheduling difficulty going on here.
Oh, I thought that was him when I saw him on hold there. I apologize. That I thought we had him, but we don't have him. We were going to pick his brain a little bit over this situation that happened this weekend. That's okay. We've got plenty of sound from what happened on Saturday and sort of the fallout from what's happened since then, and that is you've got General Kane, you've got J.D. Vance, and I thought Vance handled this as well too, talking about just how impressive this strike was when you consider the fact that we had talked about the fact that it could happen, so there should have been an expectation of that, and yet it was still pulled off flawlessly. Listen.
These guys flew from Missouri. They didn't land a single time. They dropped 30,000-pound bombs on a target the size of a washing machine, and then got back home safely without ever landing in the Middle East or ever stopping other than to briefly refuel. And of course, they did that in the air. So it's really an incredible operation, a testament to the power of American military. And I think what shows what can happen when you have that great American military in the hands of capable presidential leadership. What we did is we destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. I think we set that program back substantially, and we did it without endangering the lives of the American pilots. That's an incredible thing, and I think we all should be proud. Whatever our politics, we should be proud of what these guys accomplished. A very, very high impact mission under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, very true. And then, of course, now the question is, what happens next? What but are there, as Kim and I talked about in, I think, the first hour this morning, when Joe Biden opened up the borders to 20 million people over the past 4 years with little or no security at the border. So remember, we covered the story at the time, Kim, where I think it might have been, I don't know if it was Griff. Somebody told me that when they crossed the border to the other side, they found piles of IDs and stuff that these people would abandon before they crossed the border, so that they could lie about their names or where they were from or why they were there, and they had no paperwork on them to prove otherwise. And that was very important because a lot of those IDs were from Iran and other places in the Middle East and China and other places like that. Who knows if there are sleeper cells in the United States that have been that are ready to be activated by these crazy mullahs in Iran. It's very possible. Somebody asked Tom Cotton about that this weekend. Listen.
White House warning about dangers of sleeper cells lurking here in the U.S. Why would they think that? Well, for the last 4 years of Joe Biden's policies, we've let in over 1,500 Iranian nationals. This is from the Border Patrol. Bill Mnuchin got this last night. And guess what? Over 700 were allowed to stay. Senate Intel Committee Chair Tom Cotton knows all about it. Senator, when you talk about reprisals, people think about sleeper cells here. Do they have a right to be concerned?
Good morning, Brian. Unfortunately, they do have a right to be concerned. As you said, Joe Biden had a wide open border policy for 4 years. We know that terrorists tried to enter our country. Iran has a long history of terrorizing America going back 46 years, to include here in the United States. They tried to assassinate Donald Trump last year. Someone finally answered the call to Iran's fatwa against Salman Rushdie a few years back and brutally stabbed him. But I think it's important that we remember Iran did not become a terrorist state because Donald Trump bombed their nuclear bunkers. He bombed their nuclear bunkers because they're a terrorist state.
Thank you, Tom Cotton.
It's interesting to watch a lot of the coverage, the reaction on the mainstream media to this, because I was watching coverage of this when I got home from the airport on Saturday night, and David Muir was, of course, very quick to come out and say, we're at war. And I thought to myself, as I was still catching up on media coverage, I'm thinking, I never heard Trump once declare war on Iran. I never heard Iran declare war on us. I mean, I get that if you're dropping bombs, that could lead that direction, but no one has actually officially said we're declaring war. We don't really know what will happen with Iran. I do imagine they'll retaliate. The question is, of course, what will that look like? Will it be some sort of like an air attack? Will it be the people, like you said, who were already here in our country illegally, who poured in under Joe Biden's administration? Will it be some sort of like a cyber attack?
It'll be a terrorist attack. I don't think they have the technology to pull off a
cyber
attack without the help of China or Russia, who I don't think are going to try to get involved in this. It'll be a terror attack. That's what's going to happen. And we just have to be on guard for it. You have to have your head on a swivel. They have to double down on security at major public events that are happening. Like I hate to suggest this, but my guess is they may target something like parades or festivals.
Right.
Don't they? Isn't the Pride thing coming up this
yeah,
weekend?
but think about the July 4th.
July
4th would be the big one that I could see them
Absolutely,
targeting.
yeah.
But I do you think it would the fact that they're trying to threaten to cut off access to the strait, which would then cut off oil access for, I know China really relies on that. Do you think that could be basically like a chess game where they're saying, hey, we're going to do this, China, you need to come join us and retaliate against the United States?
I don't think.
Is there
China,
any way
China's
they
not
would?
gonna
You don't
get
think
in
they
that.
would play into that?
I don't think so. But you know what I do think, and I'm not a security analyst, but I do think that if I'm the president of China, and I see what Donald Trump was just had the brass balls to do, I have to say, I'm thinking twice before I go into Taiwan, because we warned them that we will defend Taiwan if that happens. So this is a clear message to a lot of our geopolitical enemies in the world that Donald Trump, unlike Barack Obama and Joe Biden and George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush, is not going to sit back on his hands when something like that happens. So we'll see what happens next. We'll get to a quick break right now. Coming up a little later, we're going to talk to Joey Jones from Fox News. I'm sure you've seen him on there. He's got a new book out called Behind the Badge, honoring first responders. Of course, we always love to do that. But, of course, he's also a veteran, and I'm anxious to get his thoughts this morning for the first time, I believe, on what happened over the weekend. So that's coming up at 7:35. Stay tuned.
Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews are working with an accident on eastbound 44 past Laclede Station Road. And right now, only the one right lane is getting by, and we've got a parking lot jam that goes back almost to Elm. So if you are on 44 this morning, usually it's a dream come true. Today, it's the worst of it. And we've got eastbound 64 in pretty good shape, if that is your usual commute. There was a little bit of a slowdown out at Prospect and a little bit at the Boone Bridge, and then it's pretty well fine. Northbound 270, moderate volume in pockets north of 44, and that goes up through 64. 55 slowing in the construction zone around Bayless. 70 looks good, and we are quiet on the Illinois side. If you're headed in from Illinois on the bridges downtown, we look good there as well. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. If you've been thinking about your retirement savings, and this is even if you're whatever age you are, and if you're in the workforce and you've been thinking, all right, I need to save for retirement, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But do you know how everything works? How do you know when you've saved enough? How do you know what to do in retirement as far as making that last the entire time or maximizing Social Security? How do you get all of the advantages? Since I'm a person who just likes to understand how things work, I love the idea of this. It's a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects, and it's called Retirement Planning 101. And they go over all of that stuff. How do you pay for health care in retirement? All of it. Now, there are some openings this month and next, but you have to register. So call 314-947-2012. It's a free class, 314-947-2012.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com.
Do painful joints prevent you from enjoying an active life? Blue Tail Medical Group can help without the expense and risk of surgery. Regenerative treatments can help patients with age-related wear, arthritis, or injuries by encouraging the return of soft, healthy tissue between your joints. Our doctors offer a natural path to reduce joint pain without surgery, drug dependence, or long recovery times. See nationally recognized specialists right here in Missouri at BlueTailMedicalGroup.com. That's BlueTailMedicalGroup.com.
Hey, Zero Res wants to help you clean your home or business. Big summer savings with 3 rooms cleaned starting at $129 and $75 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSCL.com and ask for the Mark Reardon or 97.1 FM Talk special.
The Cards, the Cubs.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX. Cut through the hype. Get to the truth. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Follow the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Marc Cox Show.
Queremos dejar claro que si Estados Unidos puede atacar ilegalmente a Irán, es porque cuenta con Europa como aliada.
All right, have you brushed up on your Spanish there, Kim?
Y prueba de ello es que a día de hoy,
You're not following that?
Not so much.
All right, just so you know, that is a Spanish MEP or MP or whatever, member of their parliament over there, calling for the Spain. She's Spanish. She's calling for Spain to leave NATO over the U.S. dropping bombs on Iran. And clearly she's a member of the crazed left, because her point here, let me read the translation for you. Let me, first of all, what was her name? Irene Montero, I think is her name. And this is what she said about the United States. She said, Israel has nuclear weapons. The United States has nuclear weapons. And in fact, the only country in the world that has ever dared to launch a nuclear bomb has been the United States. This shows that the UN and NATO have never had anything to do with our security. They do not defend us. They put us in danger. And that Donald Trump is a fascist, she says here. So she's some sort of hard leftist. But just so you know, I just wanted to let you know what the world is saying about what's going on here, right? So she wants Spain to not spend one more minute allied with two of the greatest dangers to humanity. This lady does not consider the crazy mullahs in Iran to be a greater danger to the world than the United States and Israel. So these are some of the crazies you're dealing with over there in Europe. Specifically, who won out of NATO? Well, I tell you what, I'll see you're dropping out of NATO, Spain, and do you one better. Not only should the United States drop out of the United Nations, in my opinion, we should also kick them out of New York. I don't say we drop out of NATO. She wants Spain to drop out of NATO, which is ridiculous. But the United States needs to end its relationship with the United Nations and send them packing. Let them go to Brussels and set up shop over there, because they're always siding with the maniacs of the world to begin with. I mean, here we go again. This lady has decided that NATO is not in the best interest of her country. So there you have it. I don't know. I thought that was not something that's being widely reported this morning when I saw that come out just a little earlier today. These people are crazy. They're also they're not alone is what you need to understand. And Scott Jennings pointed this out with the lefties on CNN yesterday. Ethan, when you get a chance, go to cut 14 for me, please.
What will be critical in the weeks to come is Congress must see the underlying intelligence about how they were indirect threat and how the U.S. needed to respond without congressional approval. But as of right now, I have not seen that.
You're arguing that after 46 years of the Iranian regime killing Americans, threatening Americans, saying over and over and over again, death to America, that maybe they were just didn't mean it, that they're fiery but mostly peaceful Iranian butchers? I mean, I don't understand.
They're fiery, but mostly peaceful Iranian
They don't
butchers?
really mean it. I mean, think about all the people in Gaza, the young children who were brought up learning, death to Israel. And then look what just happened on October 7th.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, maybe they don't do it for years and years and years, but clearly at some point they mean what they're saying.
I would agree. I played this in the 5 o'clock hour. But for those of you who maybe weren't up that early, and shame on you. I don't know why you think you get to sleep in if we don't, but shame on you. This is a bite that's out this morning, just to remind people, because Hillary Clinton, of course, has been critical of this, which is surprising. She's a former Secretary of State. She knows the threat that Iran poses to the world. Back when she was running for president, remember before she hit the glass ceiling in 2016, the question was posed to her, what would you do if Iran attacked Israel? This was Hillary's answer.
I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran.
Okay. So in this particular case, Iran did not attack Israel with a nuclear weapon, but they did enrich a bunch of uranium. And the only reason to enrich uranium is for a nuclear weapon, period. There's no other reason to enrich it. You can let it fire and create energy and fuel your lights and your energy. You don't need to enrich it to weaponize it, but they've done that. So then the question was, well, what about them enriching uranium? This is what Hillary said, separate from that. Listen.
Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
Just ignore that.
Yeah, the Hillary does not want you.
That was perfectly timed out there, Mark.
Hillary does not want you to remember that she said it doesn't matter how close they are to having a nuclear weapon. The fact that they're getting ready to build one should be all that we need to know. And hopefully that threat will keep them from doing it. Well, Donald Trump got tired of that because those threats have been empty. They've never meant anything to Iran because nobody, including Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, ever backed up their words with action.
Back up, you creep. Get away from me.
We're back in just a minute.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
All right, you pick them. You don't have to take my word for it. Lots of 5-star reviews out there for my friends at Rhino Shield, because like me, there are a lot of satisfied Rhino Shield customers. And what does that mean? Well, maybe you're satisfied because it's exactly the color and beautiful, vivid color that you wanted, right? With the trim and all of that, they can do in different colors, just like you would with regular paint, but it lasts for so long. Maybe you're happy because you're not out there scraping or having to pay somebody to scrape and paint every 4 or 5 years. That's what happens with regular paint. Not Rhino Shield. Goes on thick. waterproofs your house completely, protects it from the rays of the sun, gives you an insulation factor. It's fantastic. They've used it on HGTV on unpainted brick, block, aluminum, steel, hardy cement board. It's fantastic on all of it. Call them today for a free evaluation, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. We're at 7:30 right now, already 81 degrees. Governor Mike Kehoe will be announcing his picks for the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners later on this afternoon. Kehoe was in charge of picking 5 people, and then St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer will serve as the 6th person on that board. The state takeover bill, which was signed into law back in March, also requires the city to spend 25% of its budget on the police department by the year 2028. A man died overnight in South St. Louis after being electrocuted at a YMCA. It happened just before 3 o'clock this morning at the YMCA in the 900 block of Holly Hills. Police say the man had reached into the electrical service box there at the YMCA in an attempt to take some of its components, and that's when he was electrocuted. In sports, the Cardinals fell short of sweeping the Reds after losing yesterday's game 4-1. Cards host the Cubs tonight, 6:45, kicking off a 4-game series. Thunder won their first NBA championship, beating the Pacers in Game 7 of the NBA Finals yesterday. Final score 103-91. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. Well, the worst of it this morning is along eastbound 44. There was an accident just past Laclede Station Road for a while. Well, they've gotten that cleared. It's just that the jam hasn't completely unwound yet, and it went back to about Elm. So this is already looking better and should just improve. Now, northbound 270 has slow pockets. That's between 44 and 64. Southbound 270, a little slow, headed for 6440 as well. Northbound 55, slowing on either side of Bayless in the construction zone. Eastbound 64, there's some moderate volume out at Prospect, a little east of 94, and again at 170. 70 looks pretty good this morning. And some moderate volume on the Illinois side, westbound 64 at the 5570 split. But then things open up and look pretty good. Yeah, it looks great on the bridges downtown, and that's all of them. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan of McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
You know, my friends at Pro Outdoor would love to come out and do for your house what they have done for mine. They have helped me master my sprinkler system by coming out and getting it turned on and fixing the rain sensor, getting all of the sprinkler heads pointed in the right direction, which is key. And then, of course, in the winter, they're going to come out again. I'm part of their maintenance program. They will winterize the system, so I don't have to worry about it freezing. That's fantastic. Now, on top of that, they've made my house look better. Not just with a green yard, but with a residential lighting system that beautifies the house. It gives it great curb appeal. It gives me a greater sense of security because the house is well lit. It's just beautiful. If you haven't seen examples of this, please go to their website. Just click on that residential lighting tab. You might even see a picture of my house up there. I've got my picture up on the Facebook page. If you dig back to a couple of weeks ago, I posted it up there. You can look for yourself. Whatever you got going on outside, my friends at Pro Outdoor are there for you. Call them today. Tell them Marc Cox sent you, 636-695-7800. That's 695-7800, or online anytime at prooutdoor.com.
Everyone needs to have at least one person in their corner in life. When you don't, it's an extremely lonely and frightening place to be. But knowing you have that one person gives you peace and hope. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Since 1988, myself and my firm have been in so many corners for so many clients for so many years. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason, and it's not even close. We fought like hell for you. We fight the bullies, automobile insurance companies, the makers of unsafe products, medical providers who injured or killed their own patients. It has been such an honor and made my life complete. If you ever need us, it's easy. On your mobile device or computer, visit forthepeople.com. and then we get to work 24/7. Whether you're hurt in a car crash, injured on the job, or have questions about your Social Security, we're here for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Winner of the prestigious Marc Cox Morning Show Award every year. The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Iran is certainly calculating the reality that planes flew from the middle of America and Missouri overnight, completely undetected over 3 of their most highly sensitive sites, and we were able to destroy nuclear capabilities. And our boys in those bombers are on their way home right now. We believe that'll have a clear psychological impact on how they view the future, and we certainly hope they take the path of negotiated peace. But I could not be more proud.
Yeah, Secretary of State Pete Hegseth there talking about that attack over the course of the weekend. And, of course, everybody's talking about it this morning. And we've got Joey Jones with us, Fox News contributor, veteran, author of a new book that's out called Behind the Badge. And, Joey, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. If you don't mind, first, I'd like to just get your reaction to that attack this weekend.
Yeah, I think regardless of your feelings on a war that may ensue, I think any American can sit back and go, wow, that's quite an amazing feat. We struggled in Iraq and Afghanistan fighting on their terms. But when it comes to conventional warfare, we're the superpower in this world.
You know, I think so. And I mean, you've got obviously personal experience in Afghanistan. I know you had your life-changing injury there when you lost your legs. A lot of people are concerned about U.S. involvement in another war like that. And I don't think anybody who's involved in this particular strike has any intention of troops on the ground there.
Yeah, that's what the administration says. And I tend to believe them, considering Trump's track record for the first 4 years of his presidency. And having, honestly sit beside Pete Hegseth on the couch for several years and had a lot of conversations on air, off air, I know that his mind is on keeping us out of needless wars. And he focused on saying this in the press conference, showing a clear objective and whether or not we met it. And that's something that really was missing. I fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, but for the 20 years, for 15 to 20 of that 20-plus year war, that type of clear objective wasn't there. And that's why I was able to drag on. I don't think this administration has that problem. I don't think that the military leaders at the Pentagon right now have that problem. And I think that's why this operation is looked at as a success. It may not end the conflict between Israel and Iran. It may not end Iran's nuclear aspirations, but it certainly sent a message that we can get you anywhere, anytime, much like Israel did on June 13th. And it shows that our capabilities haven't diminished with our, I guess, lack of appetite for war.
The question now is, what kind of a retaliatory attack will there be? What does this look like? When could it happen? I mean, what insight, I guess, do you have into that with your background in the military in Iran? I mean, you hear about cyber attacks, but Mark and I were discussing how it doesn't seem like maybe that would be the route that they would take.
Yeah, listen, I was a boot on the ground. I was read into a lot of programs, a lot of information with top secret clearance and working bombs, as you could imagine. So I think very rationally in the way an American military leader or American political leader even would think. And so if I'm Iran and my military is severely diminished, the main thing I'm trying to do right now is keep Russia and China on my side. I mean, I think that's my primary goal, number one. That's the big brother. Russia put out a statement, or actually a former Russian diplomat put out a statement, something along the lines of now's the time to arm Iran with nukes. I don't know that that's really the response that they're looking for. But I will say this. If I were Iran and I'm looking to retaliate, my goal in retaliation would be just to show, hey, we're still here and we're not giving up, hoping that you would get some support. But you don't want to provoke the U.S. into literally carpet bombing your government out of existence. So maybe you go to some of these air bases if you can and you have the capabilities. I don't know that they do, to target aircraft sitting on a flight line as opposed to spilling blood. And so I don't know that military action is their response, but from the vacuum of military action, I would say that's what I would predict they do. But if they were rational, predictable actors, we probably wouldn't be in this place.
That's a great point. Great analysis of that as well. Joey Jones, our guest, of course, Fox News contributor and now author of the new book, Behind the Badge, Answering the Call to Serve on America's Home Front. Man, never is that more important when who knows what kind of attacks we may be facing on our own soil from these men and women who put on the badge every day and go out there to protect us.
I agree completely. I was a bomb tech, so my job was to take apart ordnance that didn't fully explode, or to take apart IEDs. And one thing when I was in the Marine Corps, we always said was, listen, whether we're at war or not, we do our job. Because when a unit goes out and they use bombs on the bombing range, some of them don't blow up. We got to go take care of them. And so maybe that's why the first responder responsibility resonated with me so much. I've got many of them in my family and close friend group, but they don't go to war. Their battlefield is their hometown. If they responded to a crash in an intersection last night where a young child, lost her life, they've got to drive through that intersection this morning to take their kids to school. They don't ever get to leave it. For 20, 30 years, however long their career is, they work and live and exist, and they laugh and enjoy good times and suffer through other people's heartaches in their battlefield, in their workspace. And I really wanted to write a book that allowed them to share in a way that doesn't sound whiny or look at me, but just an honest observation, an honest look into what that really is. Because I think most people don't understand it that way. And then give us as readers and Americans an opportunity to think about the fact that when we get up in the morning and we go out the door to start our day, we don't think about things like, man, what if my house catches on fire? Or what if I get in a car wreck? Or what if I have a heart attack sitting at my desk? We just automatically have this entitlement that somebody will show up with the knowledge and resources to take care of us. And that's a powerful thing in this country. It doesn't exist in most places, and I think we take it for granted sometimes.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I know you've committed yourself to doing a lot of stuff on veterans issues. A lot of the police officers I've talked to, Joey, tell me that we focus a lot on the number of our former service members who are taking their own lives. I think the number is often quoted as 22 a day. I heard Mark Schmitz the other day, the father of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, who died at Abbey Gate, say that he thinks that number is a lot higher than that. And in talking to police officers, that's also an issue for our first responders, like police officers, because of that very trauma you're talking about.
No, you're absolutely right. I shy away from the 22 a day messaging because, in my opinion, like even a brand like that dehumanizes the issue. I would rather tell you about an individual I knew or someone that their story has impacted me. I'll tell you, Chris McDonald's a guy I grew up with, a military veteran. He was my best friend growing up. We both joined the Marine Corps in our lives and deployed in different places. And when he took his life in 2012, it was one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. And so suicide is the hardest loss, especially in the military or in the first response world, because it's the one that makes the least sense. You see your buddy go and respond to an active shooter and do the right thing and take that person out, and 6 months later he takes his own life. And you're thinking, wow, he survived the hardest part of being a police officer. Why did he do that? Well, maybe it's because of the trauma of that day and the fact he had to use his weapon with lethal force, and maybe he didn't have the right assets and resources to help him through it. And that's the other issue in this book that we try to tackle, which is that for more than 20 years, we've had a conversation about the mental health of men and women who go abroad and protect us and come back home. And we've gone from kind of this, it's called shell shock or, that kind of thing to, we have an entire department of our government, Department of Veterans Affairs, that is constantly under scrutiny for why can't they do a better job at it. We have nonprofits that are nationally recognized for doing a good job at it. But on the first responder side, It happens in the precinct, in the fire hall, on the SWAT team. There's no national conversation, very few resources. And so I hope that this book helps get that out there.
The book is called Behind the Badge, Answering the Call to Serve on America's Home Front. Joey Jones, thanks for your time, my friend. Keep up the good work on Fox.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Yes, sir. Take care of yourself. And you know how we feel about first responders around here. We do all we can to help them out and help take care of them and raise money for them. And maybe a book like that hits home with somebody. And I'm sure you can find it on Amazon or wherever you buy your favorite books. Kim, what are we talking about today on Kim on a Whim?
Let's talk about that Georgia mom. You remember that mom who was kept on life support? She went in pregnant. She ended up basically going brain dead. And they were able to deliver the baby. And now the liberals are so angry that baby survived, that the baby was actually delivered.
Wow. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, well, we've got some volume out there as the morning progresses here. Eastbound 70 is still a pretty good run, but 64 has some moderate volume at Lake St. Louis Boulevard and east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Westbound is starting to slow, headed for the inner belt. Northbound 270, it's still moderate volume, but it stretches between Gravois and Ladue Road. Southbound a little slow at Ladue Road as well. We've got an accident reported on eastbound 44 again, this time closer to Berry Road. Look for a jam behind that. And northbound 55 drivers, things are starting to slow as you head toward Weber Road in the construction zone. Volume on the Illinois side, mainly westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, be honest. If you are one of those people, you'll know I'm talking to you. Do you have more than 5 credit cards? Do you have big balances on a number of them that each month you find yourself only able to make minimum payments? Now, on top of that, do you own a home with maybe a low interest rate on your mortgage? You can consolidate those credit card debts into your home mortgage right now with Golden Oak Lending, and you might save yourself over $1,000 a month in cash you're currently shipping out the door to these credit card companies. You have an opportunity right now. My friends at Golden Oak Lending have lowered their rates to 4.875 fixed. Now, that is a 15-year FHA loan, 5.81% APR, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. But think about that. You're eliminating all of that money you're spending, and you're not even making a dent in that debt right now. And you could keep that in your pocket and still have a low mortgage rate. Talk to Golden Oak. They've got counselors over there that can help you. And if they can't, they'll be honest with you. It's fast, it's easy. And again, you got people saving $1,100 or more on average every month. Be sure you call my friends at Golden Oak Lending because they're there for you. 314-567-GOLD. That's 314-567-GOLD. Their NMLS number is 114937. It's goldenoaklending.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Your home deserves siding that's as tough as it is beautiful. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we installed James Hardy siding, built to handle everything the St. Louis weather throws its way, rain, snow, or summer heat. Not only does it look amazing, but it also protects your home with long-lasting durability and low maintenance. Plus, with our expert team, you'll love the seamless installation process. Ready to give your home a stunning upgrade? Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com. Protect your home with the siding that's built to last.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to partner with Guns N' Hoses to support St. Louis area tornado victims, and we need your help. This is Annie inviting you to bring supplies to Dave Munganast, St. Louis Honda, Monday through Saturday. Visit 971talk.com/relief.
You're up. We're up. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Kim on a whim.
Well, the baby of the woman in Georgia who had been declared brain dead and had been on life support since February ended up getting delivered early Friday morning. The baby, named Chance, weighs about 1 pound, 13 ounces and is in the NICU right now. And the family's saying the baby is thankfully expected to be okay, which is remarkable. Now, what's interesting is the family, particularly it seems like the mother of this woman who had been declared brain dead and had been kept on life support, was so angry that she was being forced to stay on life support in order to try and save the baby's life, her grandchild's life. Well, now she's asking for prayers. She's saying this little boy Chance, he's just fighting. We want prayers for him.
She wanted to abort him. Well, not abort him. She wanted to pull the plug on his mother and kill him just a few weeks ago. In fact, she started a GoFundMe page, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know how much money she raised. And all the pro-abortion groups in Georgia and from around the country rallied around her. How horrible you would abuse a woman's body by keeping her alive just to deliver a child. You know what? Can I tell you something? You know what angers me the most about this is that there is nothing in my life right now that gives me greater joy than when one of my grandkids runs in the front door and screams, "Papa," well, because they're so excited to see me. Mm-hmm. It sends a chill down my spine just thinking about it. And to imagine that this woman, first of all, wanted her daughter to die, even though she knew if they just kept her alive on this machine, she could have a piece of her daughter, like a living, breathing human being produced by her daughter. Who would not want that?
What's interesting is a lot of people on the left, particularly, they might not even want an abortion, but they demand the right to have an abortion, right? And so you have the family saying this little boy is a fighter. We just want prayers for him. Then you have people on the left who are just going, I mean, they're losing their minds over this. Listen to what this one random person tweeted. They let a fetus grow inside her rotting corpse. Women are not incubators. This is experiment testing if comatose or brain dead women can be used as surrogates. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you're seeing when you look at the way they're reacting to this woman, again, being kept on life support in hopes of saving a child's life. That's what is so crazy to me. And like, to your point, why would you not want to do everything you could to save that child's life, considering the daughter wasn't going to make it?
And it gets back to the question of, you want to argue about when it's a life? So they started this argument because at the point the woman was declared brain dead, she was about 16 weeks pregnant.
She was 6 months into her pregnancy.
So she was 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was earlier than that. So even at that point, they seem to think she's in the end of her second trimester.
Something I should know this, because let's see if she's, I mean, you're pretty far along at that point.
Well, I would think.
Yeah.
So
but between second and third.
They don't even want to talk about the viability. But they're convinced that the woman who was declared brain dead, who's on a breathing machine, is not alive, but the infant who is clearly healthy and developing in the woman's womb, they want to act like that child is not alive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what infects the minds of these people on the left who don't want to acknowledge that child from the second you can hear its heartbeat is the same heartbeat you hear in your adult child today.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my daughter's heartbeat is the same one we detected it at 4 or 5 weeks, whatever that was when we first heard it. That little thump 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 that they let you listen to, which.
But I mean, this is an issue I think that even people on the right struggle with. I know when I was very liberal growing up and I became conservative, this was one of the issues I had a really hard time with. I felt like I was unloving to force a woman to have the baby. And it's crazy now thinking back to how I thought that at one point, because I just can't wrap my brain around that. Now I can't imagine it that way. It's a life. From the moment of conception, it's a life. And this is something I'm very, very passionate about, which is so crazy. And so there are a lot of conservatives, though, who I think, I'm sure even listen to the show, who would probably agree that the woman shouldn't have been forced to do that.
Wow.
So
I would, the grandmother should have been the leading defender of having this living, breathing part of her child to celebrate instead of urging them to kill them both. And now she's probably trying to raise money to pay to raise the child. Even though she clearly didn't want it. Wow. I don't know. Coming up, we're going to get to Tom Ackerman. We'll talk about the cards up and downs, and we'll talk to somebody who's decided to run for Jefferson County executive. We'll be back in just a minute.
Summer in St. Louis means one thing: Cardinals baseball. It's more than a game. It's an STL tradition. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the boom of the fireworks. It's the soundtrack to summer for Cardinals Nation. So grab your cap and glove and take your spot in the stands, because in St. Louis, baseball is more than a melody. It's our favorite song.
This is former Cardinal and Navy Lieutenant Mitch Harris. Salute those who serve. Join the Cardinals on Friday, July 11th for Military Appreciation Night, presented by Boeing. With a special themed ticket, fans will take home an exclusive Cardinals 40-ounce tumbler, honoring all 6 military branches. Arrive early for a powerful pregame concert by the U.S. Air Force Band on the Budweiser stage. And best of all, a portion of each ticket benefits USO Missouri. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/state. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Cash for Clunkers is back. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards a new insulated door. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Cash in your old entry door, too. It's Cash for Clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Convenient, free, in-home estimates. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Conahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Get this, 42% of baby boomers don't even know how much money they have in their nest egg. If you're not sure where you stand in terms of getting ready for retirement, you should be listening to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Tune in to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A thank you from the Commander-in-Chief. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The president wants to thank the brave pilots who flew nearly 40 hours and more than 7,000 miles from the middle of America to the Middle East.
They were a big part of the weekend airstrikes hitting 3 Iran nuclear facilities. President Trump posted last night on Truth Social they did monumental damage, obliteration. And White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also just told Fox.
He has prevented a rogue radical regime from obtaining a nuclear bomb and threatening our people.
And Israel's again attacked one of the facilities the U.S. hit, Fordo, and many more targets in Iran.
Preventing the Iranians from getting back to that facility. Among the targets they hit today, command centers for the Revolutionary Guard, General Intelligence Headquarters for a couple of corps, the Al-Borz Corps and the Sayed al-Shuhada Corps. And they continue to hit the aircraft that are on the ground.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv.
And once again this morning, Israelis endured several waves of ballistic missiles. We know that one projectile got through today, resulting in no injuries but some power outages.
Iran has threatened retaliation to the U.S. getting involved. Fox's Alexandria Hoff reports from the White House.
We do know now that Americans at the U.S. Embassy in Qatar have been told to shelter in place. This was out of an abundance of caution, so says the embassy. And we're not exactly sure the basis of this warning at this point, but there are global threats.
Well, this will be a tough day for people who work outside. There are heat advisories and warnings from Wisconsin to Louisiana over to the Carolinas up to Maine today and tomorrow.
Extreme heat will not just be uncomfortable and oppressive for New Yorkers. It's going to be brutal and dangerous.
Mayor Eric Adams in New York City, where a heat emergency has been declared. It'll feel like over 100 degrees. They're planning a parade tomorrow in Oklahoma City.
We're on top of the world right now!
Celebrating an NBA championship. The Thunder won it last night after beating the Indiana Pacers 103-91 in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. America's listening to Fox News.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Mid-80s already at 8:03, and it's only going to get hotter. Several protesters marched in downtown St. Louis Sunday over President Trump's decision to bomb Iran's nuclear sites. This comes as Congressman Wesley Bell criticized the president's move, claiming Trump didn't consult with Congress beforehand. Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, says that's just simply not true. Groups part of Sunday's protest say there's another one planned here in St. Louis on Thursday. A police pursuit to catch a carjacker ended with multiple crashes and several people injured, including St. Louis police officers. The driver took off when police tried pulling him over Sunday afternoon in South City. The police SUV chasing him crashed with another car, injuring the two officers and then a woman and 3 children in that other car. Well, the stolen car kept on going. That driver ended up crashing with another vehicle in the Central West End. The driver was thankfully arrested. A St. Charles man has died after drowning in the Mississippi River over the weekend. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says the man was on the back of a boat and went into the water around 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon near Two Branch Island. The 64-year-old man was not wearing a life vest. 8:04 is our time, 81 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, the Cardinals fell short of sweeping the Reds after losing yesterday's game 4-1. Cards host the Cubs tonight, 6:45 first pitch. That kicks off a 4-game series here at home. The Thunder won their first NBA championship, beating the Pacers in Game 7 of the NBA Finals last night, 103-91, the final score. 81 degrees now, 8:04 is our time. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a report of an accident eastbound 370 just east of the bridge. Cameras are turned the wrong direction, and I can't see what lane is blocked, but there is a delay on the bridge itself. Now, eastbound 70, a little moderate volume at the Rock Road this morning. 64 looks pretty good until you get to Lindbergh. Moderate volume in pockets between there and Big Bend. Westbound slowing Clayton Skinker through Hanley. Moderate volume along northbound 270, and that's anywhere from 44 up through the Dew Road. Southbound traffic on 270, a little slow at the Dew Road as well. Northbound 55 slowing on either side of Bayless. And watch out for some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
While you might not give a hoot about this week's space launch, you sure as sunshine care when your AC goes down. Well, good news, a Jerry Kelly per-producing tune-up is just 98 smackers right this very moment. $98.
JerryKelly.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We are in the longest days of summer, and we have lots of summer heat and humidity continuing on this Monday. Lots of sunshine. It's hot. It's humid. Temperatures will warm up very, very quickly. 98 for the high. The heat index around 105. Tonight, mostly clear, warm, and humid. 78. Tuesday, sunny, hot, and humid. Maybe a pop afternoon thunderstorm. And 95. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Sunny and 81 degrees now downtown at the Arch. We're at 8:06. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides. The bottom line is, I respect that we don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
All right, welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Mark. That is Kim St. Ange. Ethan Bright sitting over there. Sue Thomas keeping you up track on traffic this morning. And we are keeping track of the news as well, as everybody's anticipating some retribution, some strike back by Iran. We've been talking about that a lot this morning. Nobody knows what that's going to look like. Is it internal? Is it Middle East military bases? Is it some sort of terrorist attack of some sort across the United States? And I think a lot of people are on alert. We will continue to talk about that and take a look at what that means this hour. Also, we're going to talk to Tom Ackerman at the bottom of the hour. And the Cardinals they played pretty well against the Reds. They ended up losing the game the other night, and that's a little bit of a bummer. But they were on a roll until that loss. They'd won 5 in a row. And last week when I had Tom in here, they'd lost like 5 or 6 in a row. So we needed that.
This is the big series because they're hosting the Cubs starting tonight.
True. Going to be a hot one. Let's hope the bats are hot. That's what they need for sure. So we'll keep an eye out for that for you coming up here in just a couple of minutes. But right now, of course, it's good to have Kim and Ethan back from their vacations, and they're all rested and ready to go. Not worn out from your vacation?
No, not at all.
How about you, Ethan? All that camping didn't wear you out?
A little tired. Not gonna lie.
I'll bet. So we get the team back together for this week, and then I'm taking off next week. So,
Mark, I don't think we okayed that. I think you'll need to go ahead and cancel that.
I
trip.
know. Well, I'm not looking forward to the driving part of it because we're going to a beach, but I am looking forward to a little dipping my toes in the sand and maybe having a cold cocktail. Let's put it that way. That'll be fun. All right. Right now, Ethan, let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox shortlist.
I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran.
Wow. When did Hillary Clinton say that? Back in 2015, when she was running for president. She also said it doesn't matter where they are in the stage of developing a nuclear weapon. They need to know that we're willing to take it out and obliterate it. But now she and a bunch of other Democrats are very critical of Donald Trump, claiming he didn't have the authority to do that. What changed?
In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed.
There you have it. Benjamin Netanyahu talking about his friend and ally, the United States, which did something no other country in the world could have done.
Tehran is certainly calculating the reality that planes flew from the middle of America and Missouri overnight, completely undetected over three of their most highly sensitive sites, and we were able to destroy nuclear capabilities.
Yeah, you bet they are. They're probably looking at the sky every night wondering what's up there because they can't see it because it's a stealth bomber, and they don't have the ability to deal with that. That was Pete Hegseth describing what Iranian leaders must be worried about every night.
The mofo that resides in the White House has unilaterally, in my estimation, declared war.
Oh, my goodness. Jasmine Crockett, let her speak. Had to go on her social media, had to do her little Facebook Live, giving people time to get on there. And then she went on her little rant about Donald Trump, referring to the president of the United States as a mofo, I think is what I heard there, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
A mofo. Listen, you got to listen to the whole bite. It goes on for about 30 seconds. Play cut 12 for the people, please.
For those of you that are unaware, the mofo that resides in the White House has unilaterally, in my estimation, declared war. We have a constitution that seemingly does not matter to this man or the people that are supposed to be advising him.
Yeah.
Well, Caroline Leavitt saying that all these allegations that Trump didn't tell anyone in Congress before this strike, she's like, that's just not true. They reached out to Chuck Schumer. They talked to him. They reached out to Hakeem Jeffries. He didn't pick up the phone, apparently.
Oh, no kidding.
That's what I was reading, is that they couldn't get a hold of Hakeem Jeffries, but that they did make the attempt.
Oh, it's just the White House calling. I don't think I'll pick that up.
I have to watch the end of the show. I'm really hooked on this one particular show. I'll call back.
Maybe he was just mad because he knew they were getting ready to bomb Iran, and there's nothing they could do about it. Well, you know who else is mad, don't you? Bernie Sanders. Go to cut 7, please.
Is this news that I've just heard, the second alarming that all of you have just heard? But it is so grossly unconstitutional. All of you know that the only entity that can take this country to war is the U.S. Congress. The president does not have the right.
Yeah, I don't even know where Bernie's coming from there. Even John Bolton, who really despises Donald Trump, admits that Donald Trump had the authority to bomb Iran, and he doesn't need congressional approval to do that. You're going to hear this more and more in the coming days as the Democrats ramp up their opposition to this. Many of them are the ones that originally have parroted the words, Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. Barack Obama is quoted as saying that. George H.W. Bush quoted as saying that, George W. Bush, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, all of them have said you can't have a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump has been the only one, now that we know they had uranium 60% enriched, to go in and stop them, because none of the rest of them had the guts to do that. That is not the way that was ever going to go. And we're seeing more and more evidence that they know that. And I think that's why you've only got a few nuts like Bernie Sanders and people like AOC coming out and making the kind of claims, Jasmine Crockett making the kind of claim that she did, that Donald Trump did not have the authority to do what he did. Just remember, Barack Obama fired over 27,000 rockets into parts of Syria and Yemen in the last year of his presidency. 27,000 targeting terrorists. Iran is the biggest sponsor of terrorism maybe that the world has ever known. And now they've kind of been set back on their heels just a little bit. So we'll continue to cover the story for you if anything breaks before the show is over. Coming up, I mentioned we got Tom Ackerman is going to join us, and my friend Chris Howard is coming into the studio. He has been a long time activist, and he's been involved in Republican politics in St. Louis County for many, many years in the St. Louis area. He lives in Jefferson County. He currently works, I believe, for the St. Louis County Council, but he is throwing his hat in the ring for Jefferson County Executive. And he is going to have a kickoff this Thursday, and we're going to have him in studio here at about 8:45 this morning to talk more about that and why he wants to run for that job. So stay tuned. All that's still to come on the Marc Cox Morning Show.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk.
Take me to your river.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident eastbound 370 east of the bridge. They've got the two left lanes blocked. Traffic is slowing in that area. Eastbound 70, a little bit slow there at 270 and to the east, and then things open up. It looks like 6440 mainly has moderate volume, but it's not until you get just east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Northbound 270, still some moderate volume, anywhere from 44 through Ladue Road. Southbound 270, a little slow at Ladue Road. 55 northbound slowing at Bayless. And if you're headed in from Illinois, things look great on the bridges downtown. Really no delays. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Well, we know we're not out of the woods yet. We had a lot of bad storms this spring, and although it's officially summer, those could pop up just about any time. And, of course, my friends over at Air Comfort Service are here to keep you cool in the summertime, but they also want you to know that if you had storm damage from these storms recently, their hearts go out to anybody suffering from that. They also want to give you a word of warning. Have you checked your air conditioning unit? There are thin little pieces of coil in there that can be bent fairly easily. And in those heavy hailstorms we had, a lot of people are getting new siding, they're getting new roofs. If you have not checked that air conditioning unit, you could be making a mistake. My friends at Air Comfort Service can do that for you. They will send out an expert technician. They'll take a look at the damage, if there is any. They'll give you all the information you would need if you need to make an insurance claim and to make sure that those lingering issues don't follow you into the summer. If those coils, and maybe you haven't looked closely at your unit, if those coils are bent, it restricts airflow. And airflow is what helps keep your AC running efficiently. If those things get bent, it is not going to work properly, and then you're going to have bigger problems down the road. Call Air Comfort Service today. Let them get out there, and they're going to take care of this for you. and then you're not going to have to worry about it. It's aircomfortservice.com is of course is the way to get best way to get a hold of them is aircomfortservice.com/storm. That is aircomfortservice.com/storm.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Welcome back to RX Watch. This alert is disturbing.
Right. A while back, we learned that companies like Johnson & Johnson use a mineral called talc in baby powder and other products.
And studies show that talc, when used for feminine hygiene, can cause ovarian cancer.
Now listen to this. RX Watch has learned that the talc they use is being mined in China.
Right, and talc mined in China contains heavy metal contaminants like chromium and magnesium, which are known to cause cancer. But China doesn't care.
So China gets the jobs and we get contaminated talc in our baby powder.
And ovarian cancer.
Right. With their specialized tests, the medical team at Onder Law can help you know if your ovarian cancer was caused by talc.
Onder Law has helped women for years with free and confidential consultation. You need to call Onder Law's pharma attorneys at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH, or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
More ideas, less taxes. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com.
All right, welcome back. You know, all too often we cover stories like we had to cover last week where the St. Charles County Library Board was having a meeting and there's a question as to how they handle complaints about books that parents might not think are appropriate for certain age levels, right? And their current system is the same people that made the decision to put the book on the shelves are the ones who consider your challenge to it, and very often parents don't win those arguments. So those are the kinds of subjects we're usually talking about, not books that should be on the shelves at a lot of these libraries. And I think this is probably one of them. Our guest is Dr. Shannon Kroner, joining us right now, and she's got a book out called Let's Be Critical Thinkers when it comes to issues of masks, lockdowns, social distancing, and vaccines. Dr. Kroner, welcome into the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. So what is your what's driving you to write? I know it's your second book. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, my first book is called I'm Unvaccinated, and That's Okay.
Love it. I love it.
I need that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And these are children's books, by the way.
Correct.
So,
I think the latest one is what? 4th to 8th grade is the age range?
Yeah, that's correct.
So tell us a little bit about the book.
So it follows a young girl named Darlene Data who wants to be an investigative journalist when she grows up. And so first she teaches what critical thinking is and teaches the reader the proper way to be a critical thinker, and also explains what propaganda is, what informed consent is, what censorship is. And then she does her own investigative research into the crazy policies that we all experienced through the pandemic to discover, did masks actually work, and lockdowns and what was the science behind social distancing, if there was any science behind social distancing, And then, mandated vaccines, specifically looking at our first responders and what they had to go through with the vaccine mandates.
Well, I mean, you think about a lot of these kids who are very, very young and their parents are trying to explain to them why they're being forced to wear a mask in public or why they can't go to a certain restaurant or something like that. And I don't know, and maybe you have some insight into this, what the true impact is on a lot of these kids from the masking and the social distancing and the vaccines, all these different things we went through during COVID.
Yeah, and actually my book speaks directly to that. So throughout the book, the main character's little girl, she interviews, her friends. What did you go through during the lockdowns? And she speaks with different scientists and doctors. And some of these people that she speaks with, some of the characters in the book are very recognizable. They're famous, doctors. She speaks with the Surgeon General of Florida, who was very vocal throughout the pandemic regarding the vaccines. And, and one of the things that she also does is she speaks with a psychologist in the book about the impact that the lockdowns had on children. And I share all the science in a very clear and really easy to understand way, because this is, for children. But, the lockdowns, keeping kids at home and away from their peers and, parks closed. I'm from Los Angeles, so we had it really crazy over here. And, the parks were closed, the basketball courts were taped off, and schools closed. And then when the schools finally did open and all the kids were being constantly tested over and over again every day, temperature checks, masks, it has an impact on a negative impact on children. And we're going to see that impact, that trauma that they all experience later in life, because it's going to make them more fearful to get close to people. A lot of their grades suffered, and there's that impact, the impact of, not doing well in school. There's a lot of both of social, emotional, psychological impact on all levels with children.
Sure. Dr. Shannon Kroner is our guest. So I'm wondering, since we've got you on here, if we can start a fundraiser to send a copy of this to every newsroom in America.
Oh, I would love that. Let's do that.
Because, Kim and I both come from the world of television journalism. We're both recovering journalists, and they could certainly use a little more critical thinking, because most of them are all on board and not asking difficult enough questions through all of this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, parents will need this just as much as children do. And we saw that, throughout the pandemic. And what's funny is I put a lot of the humor that those who were really awake to what was going on and saw what was going on, I put some of that humor into this book. So for instance, the illustrations, they're really beautiful. And I'll have illustrations of, there's a woman who's driving alone in her car with a mask on.
Yes. We still see that all these years later.
We do. We definitely do. And then the people who were rewarded with donuts for showing their vaccine card. Mm-hmm. There's an image of that in the book. So, yeah, we definitely do need some, critical thinking throughout the nation.
Well, Dr. Kroner, is the book out and available right now?
It's available for pre-order on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and it comes out in a couple months.
Excellent. Dr. Shannon Kroner, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having me on
Absolutely. Today. The book is called Let's Be Critical Thinkers, critically thinking about masks, lockdowns, social distancing, and vaccines. Get it for a 4th to 8th grader near you. How about that? Because Lord knows a lot of them could use this perspective, because they're not going to get it in schools. Coming up, Tom Ackerman in studio with us. We'll talk more about the Cardinals and what they got to do to beat those Cubbies. We'll be right back.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
All right, let's talk about my friends out at Macadoodles right now and some of the glorious picks of the month that you can go out there and check out because, of course, Mike McKenna, the guy that runs the place, lets me come out there and do the Marc Cox Morning Show picks every single month. And right now you got a couple of great choices. That Planters Ozark Highland from Nobleton's Distillery made right out in Union, Missouri. Only $39 a bottle. This stuff's outstanding. If you've never been out there, you need to consider going out to Macadoodles and getting you a bottle of this while you can. The other one I picked out is an old favorite, and that is just the Maker's Mark 46, and it's under $33 a bottle. So these specials go on the whole month of June at Macadoodles at Bryan and Feisey Road. They got everything you need. You mentioned it, wine, tequila, rum, they've got it all. Go online to macadoodles.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. Anthony Pompliano's firm plans to hold up to $1 billion of Bitcoin and offer services like lending, trading, and capital markets. ProCap says its structure gives investors immediate exposure, unlike peers still waiting to close deals or file merger paperwork. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has called on China to prevent Iran from blocking the Strait of Hormuz in retaliation for U.S. airstrikes. About 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. China is Iran's biggest oil customer and maintains friendly relations with the Islamic Republic. And more on the Middle East tensions. Oil prices are slightly higher after the U.S. strike on Iran's nuclear infrastructure over the weekend. West Texas Intermediate is currently sitting at $74.26 per barrel. Brent currently sits at $77.05 per barrel. Futures are slightly higher. Friday, the Dow Industrials lost 35, the NASDAQ down 98, the S&P 500 down 13. That's Your Money Now.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
MoDOT is reporting a stall northbound 270 just before 6440. Watch for that on the right side. And there was a stall southbound 55 before Merrimack Bottom Road. Looks like that one is off on the shoulder. Now, we have some volume out there this morning, and eastbound 370 is one of those areas. There was an accident in the two left lanes east of the bridge, and it's caused a delay. Eastbound 70, just a little moderate volume east of 270. 64, most of the volume there is moderate, and it's on either side of 170, and then things open up. Northbound 270, still a little slow. Clayton Road overpass through Ladue Road. We look great on the Illinois side. If you're headed in on any of the bridges downtown, it's in good shape. This report brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Have you wondered if you've saved enough money for retirement? I think a lot of us have. And the problem is you get closer to retirement and you think, is this enough? And do I know how to make the most out of the money that I have saved so that it will last me my entire retirement? You just have to know how the system works. And that's why I think it's such a good idea to just take a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. It's just one night. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects. And they tell you some of this stuff. Here's how to reduce taxes. Here's how to pay for health care and retirement. Here's how to maximize Social Security. They do this for free, but they want you to bring 3 canned goods for a St. Louis Crisis Nursery. And you do have to make a reservation. So call 314-947-2012 and get educated. 314-947-2012.
Have you ever had a wedding reception in your yard or scheduled a party, birthday party, or whatever kind of party at your house, and during the party or a couple 3 hours before you notice your air conditioner is not working and it is the hottest day of the year? Or have you come home from a vacation and your house is baking? My experience has been that's when it will break. It just happens that way. So if that does happen to you, or say, again, you don't need to have a party or you don't need to be baked. But if your air conditioner breaks and you need to get the cold air back in your house, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. It's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Hey, summer is finally here, and it's time to take advantage of Zerorez's best deal of the summer. Zerorez can handle every surface in your home and business. Keep that in mind. It's carpets, tile, grout, hardwood, laminate, stone, upholstery, rugs, and air ducts. They've done everything for me. And this month, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 and take $75 off the air duct cleaning. One of the things that's important is trust. I trust Zerorez. They have awesome techs. They have the legendary 30-day gotta love it guarantee. Now, here's another thing. Vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and the lifespan of your carpet. Period. Do not leave the deep cleaning to yourself. Don't go to the store, the big box store, and pick up equipment, and then you have to return it back later. There's no possible way with those machines to extract all that dirty water out of the carpet, leaving your floors worse than they were before. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 and $75 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZerorezSTL.com or call 314-474-2020 and ask for the Mark Reardon special.
Rockin' the free world. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
The great sportsman like Tom Ackerman. Baseball is really not a hard sport.
It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
It's like powered by coffee this morning.
Sports, sponsored by McDonald's, reminding you to round up your total for Ronald McDonald House charities on your next order.
Well, Tom, you've said it before. This Cardinals team, they can be exciting. They had a nice walk-off win this weekend, and then, scoring some runs, and then all of a sudden the Reds got to them.
It's never easy, man. Yeah. That last game against the White Sox, they were up 6-1. They blew the lead, and then they won it in a crazy game, 8-6. They put out kind of a B lineup on Friday night with Contreras out and Arenado out and Herrera injured. He's going to be out for a while. This lineup that everybody's like, what the heck is this lineup? And they said, so JC will be in the lineup if he can make it to the ballpark on time. It was kind of a scramble. And then they dominated the Reds. Yeah, that's baseball for you. They just looked great. Palante was great. Everybody looked awesome, put the ball in play, and the Reds couldn't make the plays. And then they were throwing people out. They picked off De La Cruz. Ellie got picked off of first by Pajes on Friday. On Saturday, more great defense where De La Cruz hit a triple and then tried to advance home when the ball got away from Arenado. What he didn't see, I guess, was that Sonny Gray was backing up the play. Boom, throws a strike home, gets him. But on Sunday, the ways that the Cardinals usually win are they put the ball in play, and they did that again. But this time the Reds were there. They caught the line drives. They caught the fly balls. They were in place when the Cardinals just couldn't get offense going. pitching otherwise was fine. They lost 4-1, won the series, didn't get a chance to sweep, but a really good performance by them. I mean, the Cardinals just are sort of scrappy, grinding games out, and it's fun to see. And now here they are. They're in position to make a move in the Central, and look who's in town. The Chicago Cubs. Man, it's been way too long. Cardinals haven't played the Cubs since last season, and this is way too late in the season to start a Cards-Cubs rivalry, but the timing is great. The Cardinals are 4.5 out. You have 4 games against the Cubs. You can make your move here. If you end up sweeping them, which would be unlikely because they're really good, but if you did, you're only a half game out. And then there's the Brewers. They're right there. I mean, they've won 4 in a row. They're in second place right now, only 3.5 out. So it's a 3-team race. The Reds have faded a bit, but their win yesterday got them within striking distance, 2 games behind the Cardinals. So 4 teams involved in the NL Central. Kind of fun. And the Cards-Cubs, a nice spicy rivalry with division implications. It's good stuff.
It should be. Who are we pitching tonight?
Matthew Liberatore will pitch tonight.
Okay.
And then the Cardinals haven't announced the rest of the rotation, but I would expect that Michael McGreevy will be one of those, maybe as early as tomorrow. He'll come back up and join this team as they are trying to employ a 6-man rotation, I think, just because so many games in a row. I mean, they don't have an off day again until July 3rd. This is a lot of baseball, especially in this heat,
sure,
to be playing over and over. So that's what they'll do. The Cubs haven't announced beyond Ben Brown tonight and Jamison Tyone tomorrow. They do get their ace, Shota Imanaga, back. He'll be pitching maybe as early as this week. He's going to rejoin them in St. Louis. So yeah, it's fun. I just, Cards-Cubs is awesome. Cubs fans come into town. It's better when it's a weekend, but we'll take Monday through Thursday, and then the Cardinals go up to Wrigley for the 4th of July weekend. Hello. I mean, that's good stuff right there. Now let's see if they can get themselves in a really good position for that weekend too. And we're going to know a lot about the Cardinals and what their chances are, not only for a division race, but to make a move at the trade deadline at the end of July. So yeah, we're at that time of year. This is great. Summer's here. Cards-Cubs, good times at the ballpark.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to play this bite from Chip Caray this weekend. It's getting some attention nationally. I think it's a shame that it's getting attention. But just in case you didn't hear it, here's what happened while he was reading a promo for a giveaway at the ballpark this weekend.
Disability Pride Night is Thursday, July 10th, and with a theme ticket, fans take home a Cardinals cap featuring the Disability Pride flag and Cardinals in Braille. Details at cardinals.com/theme.
So then the broadcast went silent for about 30 seconds, even while a pitch was being thrown. And of course, that may have gotten more attention than the misspeak. But that's what it is. There were people calling for Chip Caray to be suspended because he misspoke one word in the middle of a 30-second promo. That's a crying shame. We've seen it happen here with Kevin Steincross. We've seen people get fired for stuff that they didn't say intentionally. And I think it's a shame that there were people out there calling for Chip Caray, who's one of the best in the business, to be suspended for that.
Well, you could tell from the soundbite that you just played how quickly he corrected himself.
Yes.
So whatever the 30 seconds of silence was, that's what got the attention. It's a mistake. Move forward. That's the announcers speak a lot of words over the course of a game, and things can happen when you read a piece of copy. Mm-hmm. And so, you just move forward.
That's what I said. When you broadcast 4 hours a day, like we do every day,
it's a fear of mine that something like a slip of a tongue, and then you've gone viral.
What a shame.
Or people are calling for you to be suspended, and it was simply unintentional. It was just a mistake.
Look, the age that we're in, things are going to go viral for various reasons, and when they're out of the ordinary, and people are going to read about it and click on it. I didn't see a lot of people call for his suspension, quite honestly. I saw the opposite. I saw a lot of people just sort of brushing it off and moving forward, but it is going to get coverage because it's a big broadcast and something that caught people by surprise, and so that's why it was written about. But we move forward from that. I don't think there's any question about that.
No doubt about it. I'm not an NBA fan. I know Oklahoma City won last night, which is a big deal for them.
It's the first title.
First title since they've been in Oklahoma
right,
City,
because
right?
they were where did they go?
They were the
Seattle?
Sonics.
The
Very good.
Sonics.
team.
I read about
Yeah.
this. I don't really follow NBA, but I did read about that. But yeah, this is a big deal for them.
I kind of liked the Sonics back in the day. They were kind of cool. Sean Kemp.
Yeah,
you know?
I remember
Gary
I remember
Payton.
their jerseys, their uniforms.
But before all of those guys, that team, the Sonics, won in 1979. But yeah, for Oklahoma City, they won the title. And I like this. I like the fact that Oklahoma City played Indiana. I like that it made both coasts kind of mad too. We play ball around here too,
That's right.
We play ball in the middle of the country too. And both cities are within driving distance of St. Louis. A lot of Cardinals fans in both cities. I thought that was cool. Oklahoma City was the best team all year. And their MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander
from
Kentucky.
Where? Thank you.
And his breakout performance was where? Right here in St. Louis at the SEC tournament. I was there. His breakout was at the SEC tournament in St. Louis that Kentucky won in 2018.
I was there too.
And I know you were,
Yes,
because
I
I saw
was.
you there. And everybody was like, wow, look at this guy. And he put together an awesome performance that day. He did again. All of that said, might be a different game with a healthy Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes.
And I feel terrible for him. He did all that he could. He basically, I saw him quoted somewhere saying, if I can walk, then I'm going to give it a chance. And he hurt his calf. He tried to be there for them in game 7, and he suffered an Achilles injury that's expected to end up being a torn Achilles, which is just
Could
terrible.
be out for a year.
Just terrible. And he's such a great competitor.
Ends up being a 10-point ball game, and
yeah,
he could easily have made up that difference.
Well, and you could tell that they were turning the ball over a ton. I mean, they had 21 turnovers in the game, and a lot of that happened after Halliburton got hurt. Halliburton's their primary ball handler. So you had people that were handling the ball that don't normally do it. Oklahoma City deserves it. They were the best team, but I'm just saying, probably a closer game and more drama in a game 7 if Halliburton is in there. But it is what it is. That's sports. Sports are unfair sometimes. The sports, I say this all the time, winning a championship is so hard to do because everything has to go right for you. And that's a really good Oklahoma City team that was deep, and they're very young. And I think they're going to be the favorite next year too.
Oh,
I mean,
I
they
would
might be
guess.
building a little something there. That's kind of what the Cardinals want to do in baseball, is build a young team that is going to be good for a long time. And that's difficult to do, but they've sort of figured it out over there in Oklahoma City.
Tom, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, guys.
Always love having you in here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. All right. Quick break here. Chris Howard's going to join us in studio coming up. He is announcing his bid for Jefferson County executive. And we're going to be back with more on that in just a minute. Stay tuned.
It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen. Yes.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. Things are thinning out nicely on the roads. We still have a little bit of moderate volume along eastbound 64, right around 141, and then east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Northbound 270, still some moderate volume between Manchester and 6440. But things have thinned out on the Illinois side. Really no delays if you're headed in on any of the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. Windows, siding, kitchens, bathrooms, outdoor spaces. They deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, we've seen it all this spring, haven't we? We've seen the endless rain and now the hot temperatures and all of that stuff. You know what that does? It causes your soil to shift. And I didn't realize this, but of course, talked to my friend Matt Hayes over at Home Shield Foundation Repairs. He said, listen, this is what happens around the foundations of our homes. It's normal. Soil settles. You tend to get erosion sometimes that you're not expecting. It can cause your driveway to sink. It can cause your sidewalks to sink or your front porch. They can fix that. at Home Shield Foundation Repairs. They do polyjacking, which is injecting this material below the concrete, which lifts it up. It's a permanent fix. Right now, for the month of June, 20% off polyjacking services for all first responders when you use Home Shield Foundation Repairs. If you're a fireman, police officer, EMS worker, reach out to Home Shield Foundation Repairs, and they're going to take care of you for the month of June. Just go to their website. You can find out about all they do. It is homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com.
The Cards, the Cubs.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
It's motorcycle season in St. Louis. Time to ride. When the road gets rough and you're injured in an accident, you need someone who's got your back. You need Kaufman Townsley. We're local, we know St. Louis, and we don't settle unless it's what's best for you. When it's not, we go to trial, and we bring decades of experience with us. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
The Diamond Shop, 20% off all watches, even Movado, 40% off all men's in-stock jewelry, plus 40% off all pearl jewelry and in-stock wedding bands. Continues until June 28th. 10% VIP, extra 10% off purchase. Not valid for watches through the month of June.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Scott Jennings.
It is not good for America to have foreign students here who do not love America. If we're bringing people here who hate America and want to take advantage of our system and tear down America and tear down the West, that's stupid.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. The man is on a roll. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
I'm not content to be with you in the daytime.
All right, welcome back. So on Thursday night, I get to be part of a campaign kickoff for my friend Chris Howard, who has thrown his hat into the ring for Jefferson County Executive. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. Doing fine. So you got to tell me what led up to this. I mean, I know you're a proud Jefferson Countyan these days, and
yes.
But you and I have known each other through politics in St. Louis County for a long time.
Yeah. So in the last fall, some community leaders invited me to lunch. They wanted to talk about the next county executive race because the current county executive has announced he's not running again. I went under false pretenses because I've been helping people get elected to office for 25 years. I just assumed they meant they wanted my help in getting someone elected. They're like, no, we want you to run. And so I've spent since last September doing that calculus and talking to my wife. And I think I have prayed every single day since January 1st about what I should do.
Yeah, and now the official
moment of truth has come.
The official kickoff
That's
will be
right.
Thursday. You've got people gathering down at the Drury Inn and Suites there in Arnold.
Yes.
At about 6 o'clock. I'm going to help you out with that. And
You
looking
are.
forward to that.
Appreciate it.
So what's the main pitch here that needs to be done differently than the way they've been doing things in Jeffco?
Yeah, so here's the problem. So Jefferson County is almost entirely dependent on St. Louis County for economics. And what I mean by that is so they're going through a master plan right now, which I've unfortunately read like 4 times. 67% of the people who live in Jefferson County, and I'm one of these 67%, come to St. Louis County for a job. The largest employer is the school district.
The third largest employer is Walmart.
Okay.
That's not a recipe for economic development. That's not for any future economically. So the big problem here is we have limited housing stock. We don't have an economic development program. And in 2 years, competition for those houses is going to go up. Prices are going to go up on those houses. What happens after prices go up on your house? Assessments go up.
Taxes.
You're going
That's
to pay
right.
more in
Yeah.
taxes for
Yeah.
the exact same services you get today, or less services, but you're going to pay more for them in the next 2 years. I'm a Republican. Here's what I believe. I don't want more taxes. I want more taxpayers to share the burden. But you have to have economic development to do that. So my main thrust is that economic development. The second thing is the port. I'm sure you've heard about this port development that's going on down there. So I've talked to people a lot smarter than me, right? This port authority thing, if this thing takes off, if the right person is helping manage this and develops this, this will change the economy of the entire Mississippi River Basin forever. You will effectively create a third port into the United States of America that doesn't exist.
Wow.
So everything goes through Kansas, goes through Los Angeles or New York. We saw during COVID all the bottlenecking. Imagine if we had a third port, and the center of that universe would be Jefferson County, Missouri.
Wow. And where's that in the works? I mean, I've
So
heard of it, but
yeah. So the Jefferson County Port Authority has acquired the 650 acres.
Yeah.
For the docking and undocking. We have there's been an MOU signed with New Orleans, right? Because that would be the first port of entry. The company that is developing these new container ships. So right now everything is barges.
Right.
And not to get too wonky, but so the Mississippi River, like when we have drought, gets down to 12 feet or less. Well, barges have a 12-foot draft, which means the bottom of the boat goes 12 feet down into the water. These new container ships that you can double stack containers, double wide and double high, only has a 9-foot draft. So if you're a farmer,
yeah,
and you want to get your goods out of Missouri to somewhere else, you're going to go you're going to spend thousands of dollars extra to go to Los Angeles, or you're going to spend thousands of dollars or less to come through Jefferson County, because those ships can be refrigerated and move out.
And these are some of the ideas you'll be talking about on Thursday night. People can find out more. Just go to, you have a website for your
The website's
kickoff?
not up yet. We'll have a Facebook up soon, but right now you can just go to friendsofchris.howard@gmail.com. We'll email you stuff, but we'll have all that out on social media here soon.
Yep.
It'll be good.
Yep. And obviously this is going to be down at the Drury Inn in Arnold, 6:00 on Thursday night. And we're looking forward to it. Chris, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
It's a big step.
It is.
You bet. All right. We'll talk soon. All right. We're going to get to Kilmeade. He's have the latest on what's coming out of Iran this morning. If anything, any threats we need to look at. And of course, Kim and Ethan and Sue and I'll be back here with you Tuesday morning at 5 a.m. Have a great Monday.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future